Hey, if you're looking for the best final expense telesales training, then this video is for you. I'm going to take the next 3 hours doing a deep dive training on a top producer sales call and then teaching you all of the aspects on how to sell final expense successfully remotely from home. So whether you're brand new, just getting started, or experienced and you're looking for that deep level of training that's going to make a huge impact on your sales results, then this training is for you. So sit back, take notes, and let's get started.
Hey, Dorothy, this is Marcus. I was calling you back here about that price quote you requested on Facebook for the final expense life insurance. And I got that zip code down for you as 857.
What are you looking for?
All right, so let's start here to begin with. What did Marcus start off with on the phone? How did he, tell me some things about how he started the call. Introduce himself. What else?
He went directly to her name.
Right, directly. He assumed, how did he know it was her?
He did.
He didn't. He just did it, right? All this will make sense here in a second. How did he end that opening sentence?
Asking for the zip code.
Asking, question. So you're right. So why is this important? When you get somebody on the phone, what is the critical or the most critical aspect of selling? Connect and another C word, not a slur. Control. When basically my dad ran a chemical business. He sold the Ecolab. He retired at 49, got divorced, lost half of it, married a couple more times, lost the other half a couple times. Anyways, that's besides the point. He told me, he was good about business. That's about it. He told me that sales is essentially controlling. Okay. The person who is in control is leading the direction of the call. If you don't have control, who has control? The prospect does, right? And the way that you keep control is by asking questions and presuming a little bit too, right? So we talked about, he mentioned Dorothy. She said, hello, it could have been her sister, could have been her daughter. So when you pick up the phone, you don't want to be like, well, I don't know who it's going to be, and say something like, is Dorothy there? Because guess what? She ain't there because it sounds like you're a salesperson. She's mystically gone into the ethers. She doesn't want to talk to salesperson. Right? Could you blame her? I don't either. So we assume it because it progresses the call. It keeps control and it gets us to the end where we ask a question. Okay? But no. And what do they say when you can give them a no? No. Okay? So it's very important, therefore, one thing that you have to understand when you're opening and you're listening to your calls, you cannot ask for permission to do a presentation. You assume that you're given permission until what?
They say no.
How does it actually and this is really important. We're going to come back to this, especially in objection handling later. How do you know when you don't have permission on the phone to pitch them anymore? They hung up. They can tell you all day, I'm busy. And we're going to listen to a couple examples of this. I got other stuff going on. I already got enough life insurance. I just bought. If you don't hear the dial tone, you should think as if you have permission to continue the pitch. Does that make sense? So one of the problems I see a lot with our newer agents, with agents just getting started in the business, is that they hang up. No. You can never hang up. You have to get it through your head that as long as they're listening to you, you have to continue to pitch them until they hang up on you. Because what people say doesn't necessarily mean what they actually mean. Okay? It's actions that matter in life, not words, in so many ways, right? So therefore, again, in the opening of the call, you have to make sure that you're asking a question that elicits only a yes. So I have your zip code as 37343, right? Or what we say a lot more now, this is a little bit older, were you looking for yourself or a loved one? Can you answer no to that? Probably not. I mean, it's life insurance. Usually it's yourself or a loved one, rarely. So I'm getting a yes question or a yes question, right? And do you see how that helps us facilitate the script? In an adverse situation where probably somebody doesn't want to really do this, if we're honest. So when you do your scripting, even in presenting in person, over the phone, think about what you're asking. One of the best things you can do is listen to your calls, not just do them and then wonder why it's not working. Go back and listen to them. You'll be blown. Your mind will be blown how much you're screwing it up. It's amazing. It may be cringe, but this is the opportunity to learn. Okay. So takeaways here. When the client says hello, you're going to be like, hey, Dorothy, this is Dave Duford. I'm getting back to you about the final expense quote you requested on Facebook. Are you looking for yourself or a loved one? So you tell them what you did, who you are, why you're calling them back, and then close with a question that is going to be, do you want me, are you looking for this yes, or are you looking for that yes? Are you looking for yourself or a loved one? There's, like I said, there's some variations. This script isn't written in stone. It wasn't, handed down and given to us by God. My takeaways for you guys here today is I want you to think foundationally about selling, okay? One of the things we do with scripts is we give you scripts because it shortcuts this whole learning process of learning persuasion, okay? But one of the things I'm trying to help you guys understand here today is that this is like training wheels to an extent. It works if you just do it, you should. But over time, you should start thinking and reflecting so that you can better think on your feet. And if you understand the fundamentals of sales, like we're talking about, it's going to be that much better. Any questions so far? Okay. So I actually want to pivot. I'm going to play a couple of shorter audios here. And these are just some of the follow-ups that we have. There's, let me see here. That's the script here. Let me see if I can go down to the rush objector. Yeah, okay. Okay, great. So, of course, when you do an opening to the script, do you hope, pray that they're not going to object? That you're going to hope and play and pray that they can't wait to talk to you? They've been waiting for you to call them, to sell them a life insurance policy. They can't wait. Is that how we should act when it comes to sales? No. Right? We should plan for what? The worst. And the worst is F you. Yeah. Objections. Okay. So y'all need to go into every sales ready and anticipating an objection. I don't want to hear from y'all or at home or my agents at home, they objected. I didn't see that coming. No, you don't see them not objecting. If you don't see that coming, where it's just easy. Okay. So go into this ready to rebut, ready to overcome their objection. Now there's two different objections that you'll run into, and we're going to play a couple of audios, then we'll go back. So these will be other agents besides Marcus, but a couple of audios where we call them a rushed objection rebuttal and then a non-rushed objection rebuttal. Okay. So here's the thing. Rush objection and rebuttal is going to be something like this. Hey, my name's Dave Duford. I'm calling you about this final expense plan. Hey, I'm busy right now. Call me back. I didn't do that. I just got a plan. It sounds like they're rushing you off the phone to hang up. Have anybody heard that before? It's frustrating. You're going to deal with it. Okay. Then there's every other objection, which is they let you get through the full script. And then they say, I'm busy, or I got a policy. It's a little bit different. But when they try to cut you off before you go into your pitch, this is where you pivot and try to grab them back to keep them on the line. Okay. So before we go into the script, I'm actually going to pull up. There's a really good example of this here. See if I can find it. I think this is from Juan. Let's play this one. See if this is it.
Hey, Wanda, this is Juan Nunez calling about the no-wait whole life insurance info you tapped on from Facebook. You were looking into options for final expense life insurance, and I see you're in Georgia.
I'll call you back.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll call you back. Now, he got through it. Sometimes they, yeah. No, she won't. All right. They don't call you back. You go into the witness protection program, the clients do. All right? That's how it rolls. So when you hear this, you have got to train yourself, especially if they interrupt you, to jump on it right away. You can't hesitate. You have to picture them saying, I'm busy right now. Click. You got just a moment. Okay. So you got to be right on it. Okay. So this one, this particular instance kind of waited to the end, but still he followed the same process. So listen to how he responds.
We're just making sure. Hold on a second. Don't go. We're making sure the information you requested got sent out to you. That's it. So just sending it out. Not trying to tell you anything. I don't even know if you qualify. Have you ever set up a policy before in the past?
I did.
Okay.
So what did he do?
Pull it away.
Hold it away. Took control, but he said, hold up, don't hang up. He literally told the person what to do. Okay. And if you look at our script here, that's exactly, I mean, it's not exactly word for word, but foundationally, fundamentally, he stopped her and he raised his voice. He said, hey, hold up, don't hang up the phone. Like, if you're a prospect, how many times do people ever hear that as a prospect? Almost never. So it's a pattern interrupt. You know what a pattern interrupt is? It's like you're going through this pattern and you get smacked and you're like, that's how you're interrupted, right? So this is kind of the verbal methodology of doing this, right? So like here in our example, we'll listen to another one. I think they follow it perfectly here. Great, that's exactly why I'm calling. Stay on the line. We just help someone save $43 a month on their policy, and we can help you do the same way too. This will take just a few minutes. What's your zip code? Is it 3743? Is that right? So the idea here is that some people, not all of them, will continue to go with you if you reach out to them proverbially and shake them awake to listen to. Does that make sense? So the moral of the story, the takeaway here is be prepared for them to cut you off even mid-sentence as you're going through that opening. And as soon as you got to interrupt them, don't hesitate, raise your voice. That's why we have the words bold or capped. Stay on the line. That'll cause them to stop. Did you have a question? Okay, perfect. Any questions? Yes. Oh, wait a minute. Let's pass the mic here so the audience at home doesn't yell at me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So it's less of a question, just something that I observed. Yeah. What he did was said, we're not even sure if you qualify for a policy. Yeah. So is that something to think about? Like, now there's that uncertainty on their side. They're trying to answer this question. Yeah. Can I even get life insurance? Yeah. To me, this is the knee-jerk reaction. Like, I'm busy I don't even take them at the word. And that's part of, again, fundamentally with objections, you can't really trust what you hear. The only thing you can trust is what?
Liars or liars.
When they hang up the phone. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I know. Whatever's coming out of their mouth, I don't believe. And I hate to be like, I generally trust people that keep, I'm live and let live. I trust what you say. But we've all been on the car lot. We've all been through that. Like, if you really think about sales situations you've told the guy, we're just looking, I'm just browsing, but you're kind of interested. You don't want to show your hand, you don't play your hand. So neither do our prospects, right? So that's just a reality of communication in a potentially adverse scenario where they don't know who you are and they don't trust you. You're what's called an unwelcome pest at this point. Our goal is to get you to what? A welcomed guest. That takes some time. Okay, but in the beginning, you got to train yourself to hear what they're saying, but not let that dictate how you're going to say what you're saying.
Listen around the words.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Good question. So let's listen to this example here. This is another rushed objection. Really good example here. All right.
Hi, Carlotta. This is Cole Martin with the Dig Agency, calling you back with the final expense price quote you requested on Facebook. I see your state is Pennsylvania. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And were you looking for yourself or for a loved one?
I'm already covered. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's actually exactly why I'm calling, because I just saved a guy this morning like $43 on his policy. Do you know how much you're paying for it?
Yeah. 130, I believe, for 10,000.
So that was a rushed objection because did you hear her say thank you?
Mhm.
I usually, when I about to hang up on a sales firm, I'm like, hey, I'm good. Thank you very much. Right? So Cole jumped on that right away and took back control. And again, part of our goal as agents is you got to, man, if this right here, everything we're talking about, if you leave with one lesson from today's script training is this. This is the thing that will make you more money than really probably anything else I'm going to teach today, if I'm honest. If you can keep people on the phone longer, you're going to convert more of your leads, right? Most people think they got to work, and look, objection handling at the end, very important. Underwriting, carrier selection, very important. But more people than you would imagine lose opportunities on the front end because they get intimidated. They don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to speak up. They feel like they're out of place doing that. You have to do that. You have to do that, okay? And if you work on this, this makes all the difference. In fact, one of the things we teach at Dig Agency with our new agents is I want my agents spending about half their time practicing this. I really do. Even though there's applications to study, closing objections, man, you've got to get good at this if you're going to have any chance with outbound based sales, and probably to some extent in inbound based sales. Okay. Any questions? All right. Oh, notice too. Let me go back and play that. I think he did what I hopefully could teach. Go back here. Just recycle a little bit here.
Exactly why I'm calling, because I just saved a guy this morning like $43 on his policy. Do you know how much you're paying for it?
What kind of question are you asking?
Not one that's going to get a no answer.
Right. He wasn't like, well, can I talk to you about my new policy and how it might save you money? Because they may say what? No. How you doing? Probably have to grab a chair. I'm sorry. We're you're right in front, right there. Yeah. Yeah, they stuffed us in a closet today. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yes,
So again, train yourself to be closing with questions that are yes or yes on the front end for the not just on the opening, but then on the rebuttals. Okay. Because if you say, like, let's take you through a scenario. Let's say Cole said, don't hang up, stay on the line. I just saved somebody $43 on their life insurance. And I stopped there. What is that telling the client? They're waiting on you to direct them to the appropriate direction. And how do we control and direct the presentation? With what? Questions. Preferably yes questions. That makes sense? So another rule of thumb throughout the presentation, again, I don't care what you're selling, we're talking final expense, but this is applicable in any sales environment. You always rebut and end that rebuttal with a question, okay, to keep them on your track. You are in control, not the client. Sometimes clients will ask questions like, hey, I just want a price. Do you give them the price? No. Why? Because you're in control and your script certainly ain't giving the price out this early. Why aren't we giving the price out early?
You don't know.
Yeah. Do they even qualify? Is Mildred the perfect example of health, or does she have a touch of COPD or a touch of dementia? Who knows? Until we ask. So I can't give a price. And that would be a good example. Hey, great question. I'm definitely going to get to that. I have to ask you some questions. But was this something you're looking for yourself or a loved one? See how I pivoted back to where they left off and I asked that yes question? You have to think in this kind of closed loop question rebuttal process. And this is very useful because our clients being a little bit older, they don't like us as salespeople, but they love to talk when they do like you. And talk and talk and talk and talk. And sometimes it drones on and on and on. And there's at some point where too much talking is not going to actually contribute to a sale. So you've got to be able to reel them back in, ask a question, and get them going. That's very important in this. All right. So
I got a question.
yeah, let's get you the mic. Thank you.
So with the face-to-face background, I found that the more resistance I would get at the beginning, the less resistance I'd have at the end, because usually they're a lay down and they know it.
Yeah.
And so is that the same with face-to-face, or is it a
Great
different
question.
animal?
Let me ask the audience here. Why would you want a client that gives you a bunch of crap on the front end of the phone call?
Because they'll scare off the next guy.
Yeah. If I can get through Mildred's line of resistance and she loves me and she knows I've helped her out, what happens when that call's over and she wakes up next day? Is she going to be the same person, a little grumpy, yelling at people like us? Yeah. Isn't that how we want it for our clients? I want my clients yelling and screaming at the other agents and never touching my clients and replacing them, right? So thank God for the terrible, rude prospects that we close. The rest of them, screw them. But it's true. You know, the easiest sales are sometimes the easy come, easy go. I've learned that old adage because of final expense. Sometimes the ones that just can't wait to talk to you, can't wait to talk to the other guy when they call. And they will. They will. And in fact, I'll say this too. My goal with this script and this training is to prevent the other guy from calling you back or calling your client and replacing it. Okay? Because again, like we don't operate and think that objections happen to other people, not us. You know, there are other agents and our clients are bored. They're doom scrolling Facebook and they love filling these forms out. That's their pastime. They love it. And they're going to fill out more. All right. And Zuckerberg loves showing Facebook ads to people who click on other Facebook ads that are similar in nature. It's how he's a bajillionaire. Thanks, Zuck. So you should plan to train yourself to build a moat around your client, you know, so that you can't, you know, overcome and replace. Right. Cool so far? Questions? So let's listen to a little easier. And I listened to these and I was like, it's not really an objection, but people asking questions, but you still keep control. So let's listen to a couple of those on the front end. And let me check my Zoom here if I can find my mouse. How are we doing at home, Zoom? Open it. Good. We're listening. Cool. All right. Here is a non-rushed objection.
Hi, Jamie. This is Sade Littlejohn with the DIG agency, calling you back with the final expense price quote you requested on Facebook. I see your state is Indiana. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm in an important meeting right now. Could you call me back?
Not a problem. It's actually just a few minutes to get you the pricing that you wanted. What you do with that is totally up to you. Is this for yourself or is it for a loved one?
It's myself.
Okay. And do you currently have anything in place to cover your final expenses?
No.
Okay.
You can't believe him. Important meeting. It's probably on the toilet. That is important. I mean, look, I get it, but we can do it at the same time, you know? So that's kind of why we've separated this to where you may be like, what about if they say I'm busy or a meeting or I got life insurance? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. There's really just two ways to deal with objections. They're trying to get you off the phone and everything else. And part of my training philosophy is I want to keep this simple for y'all. I don't want to like confuse and have like, well, there's 20 different, well, you're going to see that in a minute, but in the opening, at least, because it's so critical to understand, it doesn't really matter what their objection is because you can't believe it anyway. The key is to just say something that keeps them on the phone so that they can just kind of get sold to going a little bit further with you. Okay. Let's listen to one more and then we'll move on. All right, last one.
Hey, Ruben, this is Cesar Fernandez with the DIG agency calling you back with the final expense price quote you requested on Facebook. I see your state is Texas. Is that correct?
Yes, who is this?
This is Cesar Fernandez with the DIG agency regarding the burial insurance price quote you requested online, sir.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Were you looking for yourself or for your loved one, sir?
No, I was just shopping around for some life insurance.
So again, You see the same process. My name is X. I'm calling from Dig. You filled out a form looking for yourself or a loved one. This one is, he was like, what? I mean, that can be an objection. So he just said it again, right? He's like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Okay. Any questions about this? Y'all going to go home and practice this 100 times. Let me know how it goes. I'm sure you'll immediately start making more money once you get good at it. All right. I'm serious. I'm serious. This is good stuff. Okay. Okay, cool. Oh, that's right. I want to talk about this too. What did you notice about their tone, their tonality? Upbeat? Were they like the ShamWow guy? The orange glow dude? They're not over the top. Okay?
Relaxed conversation.
Relaxed conversation. Okay? So this is why it's so important to listen to yourself. As we talk about this, please don't forget this. Please, please. This is all real important, what you say, but how you say is like the sugar on top. I had a guy once that we were training, and he was very good at the script, but he sounded like a robot. Hi, my name is David Duford. I'm calling back about the final expense quote. I sounded like, like some, murderer. I don't know. He gave people the creeps. And I'm like, bro, listen to what you're saying. He's like, okay. You got to listen to yourself, and you got to learn how to, you can go over the top. I like it, as you can tell. I think it's fun. I think it has its place. But there's two ways to really practice your tone, and I think it should be reflective of your personality. You should have a kind of matter of fact, I'm just doing my job, getting back to you. You can sense there's a little authority in that tone, right? It's not monotonous, but it's not like ShamWow guy. Okay. So Caesar has that, Sade had that prior. There's some energy, but it's just, I'm doing my job and I got to get back to you. Okay. That's how most people do it. Then there's you can be a little over the top and have fun with it. Marcus kind of has that a little bit as his call progresses, but either or is fine. Just, again, listen to your scripting or listen to your recordings. Fundamental, most important thing you can do, better than listening to this stuff. Once you listen to it, then you should listen to your stuff a lot. And you'll be shocked at how bad it sounds. Put it that way. And I say that nicely, because I want you to really take me up on the offer and listen to yourself, because you're going to be like, man, Dave was right. It's bad. But then you can fix it, right? Okay. And let's go back to Marcus here and pick back up there. We're going to get a little bit deeper into the presentation. I'll let it play from the beginning.
Hey, Dorothy, this is Marcus. I was calling you back here about that price quote you requested on Facebook for the final expense life insurance. And I got that code down for you as 857.
What are you looking for?
Looking around for yourself, or was that for a loved one?
Myself.
For yourself? All right. And did you already have a policy?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. What got you looking into getting in these programs? Are you looking to save some money or add on some additional coverage?
Add on some additional coverage.
All right. Why are we asking that question?
He already has a policy.
Right. Why is that important?
He's a buyer.
Buyer. What else?
It eliminates me.
Do we like playing poker and our opponents have their cards face up so you can see what they're, yeah. Don't we win the game more often, right? So I want y'all to roll in to every presentation where you get past the opening with as much ammunition and information as possible, okay? And one of the best things you can do, of course, is with finesse, ask about what they currently have. If I at least know, now, I don't interrogate them right up front. I have to earn that right through creating a connection with them, okay? But I do want to know going into this, are you looking to get your first policy or add more coverage? Because that's going to tell me what do they have, eventually why they purchased it, why are they looking for more? Isn't one policy enough? So these are things that we need to record as we're presenting so that when it comes time to close, we can effectively position what we're selling as either a better solution by rolling it all together or as a very good second add-on and the benefits from doing that. Does that make sense? Again, what a lot of agents will do, they won't even ask this question. They'll get to the end. Most of the time, they'll just be like, man, they weren't interested, but the client had a policy, but wasn't completely clear on the reasons why she needed to have more. Okay. So if you uncover this reasons, you can start attacking it and positioning what you're selling better. Does that make sense, everybody? So make sure we ask that very early on for this reason, so we know what we're up against and how to properly position. Okay.
Okay. Is it because that one isn't enough?
Yeah, it's not.
Okay. All righty, sweetie. Well, Dorothy, so you have an idea of who you're talking to. My name is Marcus. I am a broker out here in Mississippi, and my job is simple. It's to shop all the companies out here in the state, and we'll find out which ones are going to offer you the best price, the best coverage, and the best program. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, these are state regulated, so what that means is they're based off of the age and the health for you. Okay, so
I was trying to find the script that Marcus did. So what that was an introductory script. So again, all of our clients, they think we're scammers. They think we're trying to steal their information. They don't trust us. They may had expressed interest in this thing, but they don't know who we are personally. These ads don't run our faces on them. They don't see our content. It's not like YouTube, where y'all trust me, right? 100%, right? But our clients don't. They just see some random ad. So you need to warm them up, get them to trust. So with the introductory statement, we want to tell them who we are, why they're calling, and what's in it for them. What's in it for them? What makes you different? What makes you special? A unique selling proposition. So I like saying something like, hey, reason I'm calling, my name is Dave Duford. I'm a licensed agent in Tennessee. I've been in business since 2011. And the reason my clients do business with me is I shop around the 30 biggest insurance companies in Tennessee to get you the best combination of price and coverage. Most of my people are on a fixed income. And they're like, yeah, because they're on a fixed income. They don't want to spend a lot. And they appreciate that I'm working for them, implied through that. Does that make sense? So we want to say that early on because there was an ad that ran. It was Stoltz Beer. This is a long time ago. I was doing this when I studied ads and marketing. And Stoltz Beer was this, what do you call a beer? Beer company, beer manufacturer, whatever. Brewery, thank you. They described in their ads the triple distillery process to create this perfect beer. And they had this whole it was really cool to read about the whole process as well. If you're an insider to the business, like another brewery, you read this and you're like, this is what everybody does. This is nothing special. But the people didn't know. The beer drinkers thought that was the coolest thing. And it gave this added enhanced value because you describe the process and what you do. Okay. So you cannot, remember, you are not your clients. You are not your clients. You're an agent. You take for granted the lingo you say, the knowledge you have, and it's incumbent upon you to position yourself purposely, even if every one of y'all can do the same thing in this room and in Zoom. The fact is, at that time with that person, you properly positioning yourself, even though it's what everybody else does, makes you unique and special. Okay, we all represent multiple carriers, right? We all shop around for our clients, but not all y'all say that. So when I say it, it's going to sound unique, and my clients can appreciate that, and that's going to give them confidence to buy from me. So most of y'all a lot of you sell final expense, but if you sell Medicare, it's the same thing. It really just doesn't matter what you sell. Just talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about how long you've been in business. Even if you're brand new, I'm just recently got licensed. I jumped through all the hoops. The state passed and said I'm, blessed to sell insurance. Sell up the fact that you're brand new, right? So again, purposely share this information. It makes a huge difference. When a bunch of people are calling our prospects, remember what I said earlier? We want to build a moat around our clients. Make sense? Any questions about that? Okay. So a couple of things with the script that are just important to hit on. Let's see here. So there's two routes that we go down in the script. Let's just go back up here, make sure I hit it up. Now for us, in our free lead program, you'll see the script on the right-hand side. So this is, we've hit somebody who we pitch, but they don't sell. We're going to pitch them again. All right. Our people are going to pitch them again. Because a lot of the times, I found this out many times in my career. I remember I sat down with the dude and he adamantly didn't want to buy. And I met up with him a year later. He bought from somebody. And I remember thinking he didn't want anything, and somehow he did. So we will try to sell somebody, and then somebody is just different approach, different tonality. They may sell them. Or they may have had time to think about it. So it's always worth, even if you're just a broker buying your own leads, to maybe call them again in a month and a half. They'll forget. They ain't going to remember you. Don't worry about it. You know, you're not going to upset them. You remember, but they don't. But you just pitch them again. And sometimes they've had time to think about it. Their wife yelled at them like, "You're an idiot. You're supposed to buy that. I told you." And then you buy it, and then you sell them. Okay. So don't be afraid of that. That's why we have that there. Okay. We kind of just, it's the same script, but we change it up a little bit just to not sound like, we say deferred insurance there because, it's that dig agency. Those dig people. Hey. So we kind of mix it up just to throw them off a little bit. Let's see here. So in this script, we have two tracks to go down if they have a policy or if they don't have a policy. Okay. So again, one of the things that we attempt to do, and you'll find this in the audios that you listen to, we get to the close in 15 minutes. If our client, blah, 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 maybe longer, but we want to pitch and get to the price quote in like 15 minutes or less. So we used to have a longer script, and the sales manager at the time, he was like, "Dave, I think this is too much. Can I have permission to chop it in half?" I was like, "I guess, go for it." And so the conversion rates didn't change. So we were selling the same amount of people, but instead of what took, again, 30 minutes to get to the close, now it takes 15. So now we can get through more calls, more leads faster, and have a potential to sell more. Okay. So we didn't see it, you would think, if your script's shorter, you didn't connect to them better. No, it's not like that. I think too, now with so much phone solicitations going on, getting to the point is a value. Droning on about, your dogs and cats and excessive rapport building doesn't actually add value. I think it can, but about after 30 seconds, it's time to get back to business. Okay. So, you'll notice that if you listen to our calls, we get, show me the money, show me the beef. We want to get to it. All right. So just to go through the script real quick, let me move my head so you guys can see. So policy, if they have a policy, we kind of sprinkle in here, kind of give them an insight that we're going to maybe get them something better. Possibly, we may not replace anything. Perfect. I'm glad we're talking. Just last week, we had a client saying in your situation and in the same situation, save your $43 a month. Oh, by the way, does your policy have a 2-year wait before it kicks in? So we ask those questions because I think this lady actually has a Gerber plan you'll listen to. A lot of our clients are buying AARP, Colonial Penn. These are mass products. Mutual of Omaha is another one. They all have 2-year waits. Okay, most of them do. And so clients don't know it. They just heard of it. It is brand awareness, and they just make the mistake of believing that it's good. And we want to know that, again, cards faced up, know that going in, what they got and how we can help them. And then we transition there to we're getting to the quote. Oh, that's another thing we say a lot, the quote. I'm calling back the quote you requested. So let me get you some information on the price. We don't shy away. So a lot of scripts, they'll be like, I'm just giving you this information. I mean, we are, but we talked and you requested a life insurance quote or a final expense quote. It depends on what the ad says. We're going to get you the quote. That's used. You want to use it, but not overuse it because it's like a trigger word. Quote. Yeah. What does it cost? It gets them to a little bit longer than if you if you hide that from it. Does that make sense? So you'll see this through the script. We're getting them the quote. We're going to run this quote. It's sprinkled in 4 or 5 times to continue to keep their attention. And then on a meta basis overall, the other thing really important to remember is this is the biggest difference than if you sell face-to-face than over the phone. If you're in someone's house, you can take your time. They're not going to physically pick you up and throw you out the door in most cases. But on the phone, what can they do? Or their phone dies. Happens all the time. Okay. So you don't have time to waste. And you have to get to the point, you have to continuously hook them. If they lose interest, they get bored, or their phone dies because you listen to them talk or you talk too much. That happens a lot too. You're screwed. Okay. So get to the point. Keep plodding forward. Very important thing. And then on the other side here, if they don't have a policy, we're going to ask some questions to figure out why. So again, here's the tonality part. Wow, is there any reason why you've not got something in place yet? And you want to say that with a little bit of empathy and certainly lower your voice slightly. Okay. And then just talking about, yeah, you know, my daughter died or my husband died and we didn't have a policy. It was a huge burden. Whatever it is, record that. That's the reason why. It's really important to know. But let them talk about it briefly. You don't want to necessarily have, a protracted long conversation, you know, but you want to at least collect that information. What is motivating them to buy today? They filled out a bunch of forms in the past. They've probably been pitched. Why now? I want to know. Especially if they've never had a policy or they don't have a policy currently. Something has shifted. And we need to capture that information because that's the ammo we need to close them when it comes down to the money, right? Because they may start getting what? Buyer's remorse. Second question. I'm going to put this off. What are our clients? What do I call our clients? Anybody know the words, 3-word description? Y'all watch my YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
World-class procrastinators. Remember that. If it can wait, if they can take the policy out as the lid on the casket is closing, they do it. But wouldn't we all? I would. Load me up on that insurance right before I die. But that's not how life insurance works. We have to motivate people well in advance of health issues and certainly death, okay? But our clients are experts at, wait a little longer. So you have to remember these things they tell you to motivate them to buy, okay? All right, let me check the Zoom here. We got people watching. They got a chat. So I'm gonna see if they got questions here. Here. When is a good time in the presentation to ask about the prospect's needs? For example, what are you looking for to cover burial, cremation, funeral? You can ask that. You can ask that kind of in this questions, but we used to, and you'll see here in a minute, we asked that question near the end right before we pitch them. So we used to ask early on, what were your thoughts and concerns that prompted you to request this information? Because we wanted to start with the big picture. And I don't think that's necessarily wrong, but when we adjusted the script, we placed that right before we showed them the 3 options, right at the close. Your good, better, best. Here's what you got. Here's what we got. And why did we do that? Because there's less time between what's motivating you and here's what you can buy. So the theory would be if they know in advance what they want and we've connected it to what their motivations are and we pitch them the price, they're more motivated to make a decision. Does that make sense? So I don't know if one way is better than the other, which is we just shifted it and there was no negative impact. So, but yes, we do ask about needs. I do think, especially in telesales, there's other sales systems. And look, I am not the guru of sales. I'm not the end all be all. There's different ways to do this, 100%. But there's a lot of these needs-based or you got to ask a million questions type of sale. This is not, you don't have to do that necessarily for final expense. And I struggled with that with the modification of the script. We ask less reason why needs-based questions than we used to. We definitely ask, but not to the same extent. But what we get is a faster sale, and I think a faster rate of sales opportunities, which I'll ask less if I can get more sales potential. I mean, I'll take that all day long. So, it is one of those things. So, I've seen scripts in this business that are like 20, 30 pages long, like full scripts that take 45 minutes to get to the sale, which is just like, you just like wear them out. You wear them out. And I don't think that works like it used to. I don't think people have the attention span. Even our senior citizens are doom scrolling on TikTok and Facebook. You know, like they don't have the attention span. And that's part of the reason we modified this script is to get to the point faster. Okay.
Is this your date? Is that your grandbaby?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, how many grandchildren you got?
2.
That's cute. All right, so you're
2 girls.
Oh, do they keep you busy?
Yes.
They make you feel young, huh?
No. I wish I felt young.
Well, you are. You're 58 years old. It sounds like you're still kicking and rocking to me.
I'm working on it.
You keep doing with that attitude. I love it. That's going to keep you going. And
so Marcus is upbeat. He's happy, you know, like, and the client noticed, I don't know if you remember, but Marcus was going through the front of the script and she was like, I'm looking for myself. Yeah. She was just kind of like, nah. So when it comes to rapport building, we usually don't. So rapport building, everybody know what rapport building, that's when you try to like talk to the client and get to know them and all that stuff, right? The problem is it's predictable and it's cheesy, right? And people, when you start rapport building too early, it's like they know the game. You're just trying to get my money, right? And then they kind of, you know, whatever. So we tend to rapport build after the opening. You notice we weren't asking about the grandkids in the first 10 seconds, okay? We don't do rapport building till we get past those first couple of questions, establish that they have some interest, and show them that we're here to do business. We're serious about this. We're not wasting time. Then we'll waste a little time rapport building because they got to like you. I mean, people buy from people they like and trust, right? We've already tried to establish the grounds for trust, you know, who we are and what makes us different and all that stuff, right? But we do want to be likable. So we want to ask about the grandkids a couple of times. You can hear in her tonality, you hear the tone, like she's laughing a little bit. And he's laughing. It's, you know, yuck. Right? So we want some of that. And where this actually comes in handy is as you go through the health questions. As you go through the health questions, you can ask them about their health and they'll tell you their litany of problems and how they got the problems and how it makes them feel. But there's the ability to connect and ask questions there. But there's also a great opportunity to build trust because you start naming drugs that they're taking that they're trying to spell and say out loud. And you're like, yeah, that's the one. You sound like an expert as you go through this. So as you're talking to your clients, as you mention these drugs and these conditions, like do it, mention it. That is another way to solidify trust and believability. Make sense? Any questions about that? Okay, perfect. Let's keep going.
then, Dorothy, what was your height and weight, please?
I weigh 140, and I'm between 5'3" and 5'4".
Gotcha. Are you a smoker?
No.
No smoking. All right. And then as far as health, any health concerns, anything mild or major I should be aware of?
Diabetes.
Diabetes. Okay. With the diabetes, do you have any complications with it?
So one of the things we do when it comes to questioning, so we ask the underwriting, why do we ask the underwriting early? Right. Why is that important in life insurance?
Cost, right?
Cost and what else?
Type of policy if they need guaranteed issue.
Yeah. Who loves selling a policy they can't actually buy because they're not qualified? Nobody. It's a good way to lose a sale you could have had if you position it right. So you want to underwrite early. Now, the reality though is that as an agent, we're facing thoroughness versus attention span. Okay, you notice what I mean by that is Marcus said, can you give me, so what kind of health conditions do you have, major and minor, something like that, right? It wasn't the litany of questions that I think are here. We didn't go through all of these, right? So these are there as a reference guide, especially to follow up when they start asking questions. Okay, like she said, I got diabetes. Well, I'm going to start following up with questions that are related to diabetes. Do you take insulin? When did you start? What age did you begin to get diabetes? Do you have complications of diabetes like neuropathy, nephropathy, et cetera? I'm going to follow up with that stuff relevant to what they said. Okay. So again, we do this because you can bore someone to death by asking all these questions. Okay. So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying it's wrong to do all this. It's just you run the risk of prolonging the conversation. Okay. And I find too, and this is one of those things that's a little differentiated if you're a longer term producer that produces at high levels. Once you know the rules, you can kind of bend them a little bit. So that's kind of what Marcus is doing. He knows where to go, and he's not going to ask every one of these questions word for word. But if you needed to, you could. Okay. It's not wrong. Any questions about that? The other thing too is prescriptions. We make sure you ask for the prescriptions. Don't just ask health questions. The way under life insurance and final expense specifically is underwritten is off of a MIB check for these health conditions, but also a prescription check for any prescriptions filled. And if you're not asking about it, they may answer no to all this stuff, but they forget the Aricept. Get the joke? Yeah. Okay. Yes. It's a dementia medication. They forget it? Okay. So little final expense joke. Okay. So you want to ask them about the prescriptions. So get them to grab the prescriptions, read them off to you. Do not forget this, or you'll lose the sale that you otherwise would have had. Questions about that? Okay. Let's continue with Marcus.
Tingling in the hands and feet, the neuropathy or kidney problems, or are you
No.
taking it?
No kidney problems. I have neuropathy in my hands and my feet.
Okay. Did the doctors prescribe you gabapentin?
Yes, I take gabapentin.
Okay.
So these are the
Are you
follow-up
taking
sequence
insulin as
questions.
well?
I am. I have got my sugars down to where they're now low. So we are trying to wean me off of that and see how I do.
Good. Is your A1C reading less than 8%?
Oh, yeah.
Very good. Yeah, my dad just started dialysis last month because of his diabetes. He just didn't take care of it.
Oh.
And
I really worked hard. I worked hard. When I was first diagnosed, I was 12.1 A1C.
Yeah. Jeez. She was sweet. What did Marcus do there? You know what Marcus did? He shut up. Did you notice that? As soon as she started talking, he knew, let her talk, let her share, let her reciprocate rapport building. Okay. Don't cut off your prospect. If prospect starts volunteering information, even if it's not necessarily relevant, it's relevant in the sense that it's an opportunity to build more of a connection. So you got to be sensitive to that. As soon as they start talking unprompted, listen, right? And because he was talking about his dad. Dad's in dialysis. He is. I talked to Marcus about it, and dad. But he knew enough that even though this is something special to them, he shut up, because what matters is her, not him. All right. So again, remember this. Remember this. Try to remember when to listen, when to shut up. Sales is not just about talking. It's about listening. The only way you can listen is to shut your mouth. Okay. All right.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
And now today, I went to the doctor today, and it's 4, Macy, it's like a 4.9.
Wow.
What?
Yep.
Damn, they better take you off that insulin soon.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. I have done really good.
Wow.
Mhm.
Seriously, that's very good.
Yeah.
And then, so Dorothy, let's take a look at your current policy, because I know you're concerned.
No, other thing, notice Marcus wasn't like going on and going through a conversation about diabetes and the herbs and the this and the that, like going down the rabbit hole. Okay. So some of us like talking to people, right? And if we like it too much, just for the sake of talk, we'll talk our way out of a deal, or at least have an average call time that's just ridiculous. Okay. So what Marcus did, he was congratulatory of her and did a great job, but then got back on the script. Okay. Y'all notice that? So again, Everybody's different. Some of us like to talk, but if you talk too much, I would say what the litmus test is longer than 30 seconds. You should probably find a way to off ramp and get back on the script. Okay. Because remember, we're talking to seniors and they don't talk to a lot of some people. My mom's 70 and she'll go a week without talking to anybody. And she'll talk to somebody, they'll call her and just blah, 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 blah. You know, I mean, think about being isolated for a week. I mean, I'd start talking to salespeople too.
The suspected spam. You go, oh, good.
Oh, finally. Yes. Hey.
What? Oh, you spam like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Hey, Likely. Mr. Likely. Let's see what else. What I mentioned there. Marcus, as you may have, it may have crossed your mind that maybe Marcus was slightly distracted. Did anybody feel like he was? He's pretty good at it. You probably couldn't tell. You'll find this with newer agents. So while he's talking to the client, he's running quotes on a tool called Insurance Toolkits. Okay. Please, if you're selling final expense, use Insurance Toolkits. I don't own the company. I know the owners for years. It is the first-in-class quoter and underwriter. Okay, so you give the information to the tool. It's online. You put in the health history. You put in the prescriptions. You click quote, and for the companies that you have, it'll quote you for the amounts, the face amounts that you want. And then you just select it. Now you still have to go on the application, do the underwriting and all that stuff. But it makes the underwriting process immensely easier versus we used to have a spreadsheet like with all of the companies, 55 conditions, and you had to go like do this like an abacus and this and that and to find it, and then hopefully it worked. So my point is get insurance toolkits. It makes your life easier. Okay. Hold on one second. We got the mic.
Do we have the ability to write an app from the insurance toolkit?
They'll just have a link to go to the application. You still have to do the application on the carriers. Okay. I don't think the carriers like insurance toolkits because a carrier doesn't want like one category of risk. So like trying to think of a good example here. So there are carriers that'll take weird conditions that others won't. And in the world that we're in, we have multiple options. We end up sending all of our people using oxygen to Guarantee Trust Life, for example, because they take it. I think they did it at one point. And so they get this really bad risk profile of people who are not in good shape, but they don't get any of the healthy ones. And so what ends up happening is they get adverse risk. Their profile of how long their clients are supposed to live and the profitability of the product is way off, and then they pull out of the market. So why does this matter? Because if you were able to quote insurance toolkits, it would send automatically with a lot more ease the high risk cases to only specific carriers. Whereas what a company wants is a mixture of risk. Well, they want no risk, but if they're going to take risks, they don't want all the bad risks. They want the healthy people, and in exchange take some unhealthy people. Does that make sense? So yeah, and a long way to say you still have to use the application. You still have to apply.
One more.
Yeah, please.
How does it compare versus the integrity system that they have?
I have no clue. I don't do business with them, so I don't have a comment or an opinion. I just don't know. I'm ignorant. Any other questions? Underwriting. Anybody? All right.
I have a
yes.
I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it just doesn't make on the underwriting on this specific case. If she's 4.9, how does she have neuropathy? Isn't that kind of strange?
Well, it was 12.1. The A1C at one point was.
Okay.
So it probably was really bad at one point, and then she stopped drinking Mountain Dew and whatever, and got it under control. So I don't understand. Yeah. I don't know if, so like I'm not a doctor, but a lot of these conditions are controllable, and how bad they are can be reduced. Like my mom had liver damage And she was on a med and the whatever the precursors reduced a lot. So I guess it just depends on how you treat yourself. So I'm not a diabetes guy. Maybe somebody else knows, but yeah. Anybody else? All right, let's keep going. 4 minutes in.
Is you don't have enough coverage. How much coverage do you have with that policy?
5,000.
5,000. Okay. Well, now it depends. Was the goal for you to do a burial or for a cremation?
Cremation.
Okay. So with a direct cremation, are you planning on having a service, or is it just a direct cremation and the family gets to keep the ashes?
If they do anything, it'll be like here at home. It won't be.
Gotcha. So, Dorothy, as I'm talking to you like if you were my mom, and I'm sure you're just trying to do the right thing for your family and for your kids, right?
All right, I love that. Y'all mentioned it in the front. I just think it's worth hitting on. If you're my mom, this is what I tell you. If you're my dad, this is what I tell you. Please use that in every one of your calls. If you believe it, I mean, I love my mom, and I want her the best, right? So if that's you, use that. It works well, especially if you're younger. Marcus is in his 20s. She can tell he's younger than me. So, but that stuff is good because and it's more believable now at this point because he's done all this fact finding and rapport building and questioning, right? So he's moving off of that unwelcome pest to more of the welcome guest side of things. So he can say this stuff and it's actually believed, right? Okay. So, and then now we've gone through a process of asking some fact finding questions. I think somebody asked about that earlier. When did we ask? Oh, I think it was somebody on Zoom. When did we ask about the funeral, cremation, etc.? There may be an error here with what Marcus is doing or about to do. I want you to listen and we'll recap it.
Right.
5,000 is more than enough. It really is. Now, yeah, of course it is. Now, let's take a look at it because there's two things here. Number one, did you get that policy taken out recently?
No, I've had it.
Okay. And I'm sure you're locked in at a good price, too. How much are you paying a month on it?
Well, I think I just looked at it. I think it was like 28 for mine, and then I got an accidental policy that only cost me $1 extra, and then I have a policy on Peyton.
Got it.
Okay. What is missing from this so far? So we know that, just to recap, the client has 5,000 in coverage with a little accidental. She's paying $28, $29 a month. She's had it for a while. Is that a couple months, couple years? I don't know about that. That's probably something Marcus should have asked. What did he say earlier? Did y'all catch what he said?
That's more than enough for them both.
Is that smart to say?
Actually, I think it could be.
Why?
Because if you let her know that she already has enough to take care of her burial, then maybe she wants to leave something for Peyton or for another family member. So maybe she wants to take out another policy to leave something. Smash the microphone.
Got the microphone.
I'm not going to remember all that. What?
That's okay. Here, did you have a question, sir?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Here, just pass that up here. I don't want the Zoom people here.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I believe it can add trust to the situation. And he can come back afterwards with something else, but if he lets her know that there's trust, then it just opens up a little bit more.
I'll hear that in the back, trust. You imagine a salesperson saying you don't need to buy anymore? I mean, I might listen a little harder. Yeah. Good ones, really good ones to do. Yeah. But here, what is Marcus potentially missing?
Is it a whole or term?
Well, yeah, that we're getting to that. To ask that, yes. Now, I would assume he would presume he knew it was a whole life because of the face amount being $5,030 a month. Why?
This is because we don't know how long she have had the policy. We don't know how long has she had the policy, whether it's a 2-year waiting period or not, based on how long she had.
Yeah,
it.
that's something Marcus could have done better. He may get to that, but yes. Maybe she just took it. Again, I had it for a while. That's so subjective. A while could be weeks, months, years. And that matters because the 2-year wait's 2 years. She could be 6 months, 12 months into that, and there's a better option.
But why would she want more coverage? Marcus really hasn't asked that. That's the problem I'm hearing. Because what I think is she's talking to a salesperson voluntarily. She has a reason. Because I mean, I can think of all sorts of other things I can do besides talk to one of y'all as a salespeople, right? No offense, or me, right? And as we all could. So I'm like, why? Why is she doing this? And Marcus, as of now, he has failed to do that, to ask the why. He is, in a sense, now you say this is an intelligent, and probably is an intelligent ploy. Hey, you got enough coverage. Now it may be real, it might be a ploy to just get her to divulge more information. I don't know. But the thing that's missing in my mind is, okay, you got enough coverage. Why do you want more? He's instilling his beliefs on why somebody should have coverage. Do people buy because of my beliefs or because of their beliefs?
Their beliefs.
Right, right. Perception is reality. What they perceive they need and what's important is the only thing that matters. Now, I may make some suggestions and things to think about, as we should. But if they're dead set on some reason why they should buy it, that's their reason. That's what they're going to fall back to. And we need to ask them, and frame it in the way Marcus did. Hey, you got a lot of coverage for cremation, especially in Mississippi. It's not that expensive there. Why would you want more? They'll tell you why they want to buy from you. And then guess what you can do? Sell them on that reason when it comes to the close. Because if I'm going to the close and I don't have that reason, that's an interesting thing, and I don't have it. I'm at a disadvantage at the very bare minimum, right? And you may be thinking, well, I'll still close them. Yeah, maybe. But what if they change their mind? They got buyer's remorse. What if their personality is kind of like non-committal? They're scared of change or investment. A lot of people are. Well, that's where you use that leverage that you picked up through the call. Is this all making sense, everybody? Okay. So be thinking, and this is the difficulty with anything in sales, especially as a new agent. You have to follow the script. You have to follow the script. But man, you got to think on your feet. It's both and. I can't throw you out into the wild without having a map and a process to handle, these wild beasts, or Mildreds, all right? But you can't wing it. But then if you just follow the directions completely perfectly and don't think with your brain, you're going to run into problems. So you got to do both. Okay? All right. Keep going. Let me check Zoom if Zoom has questions here real quick. Let's see here. Yeah, no questions. Cool. Okay.
Okay. Now, if your goal was to leave some extra money behind for the family, maybe get on another $5,000, I would say absolutely, so be it. I think that would be a great gift as a mother. But bottom line, you have enough to cover your cremation. So would you be open to see what a new $5,000 policy would look like in terms of monthly premium? Okay, sweetie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so he's kind of getting at it, kind of in a indirect beat around the bush. I would just rather ask him, so why would you want more than what you got? What's motivating you? You've got good coverage. Just get to the point, So yeah, but Marcus is getting there kind of closely, leaving money behind. She's not saying no. She's like, yeah, sure, yeah, I'm interested, yeah. But I would want to know definitively and that's the other thing too. Everybody kind of speaks their own language, right? We have our own English variants. Every single person, the language and things that we say, okay? I've heard people who are very old. This is back in 2011 when people who were like the greatest generation was still alive. They would call whole life ordinary life, like the textbook version. What else would they would call it? Straight life. Yes. They would call it these like things that, you probably never heard of. Most people. So, but I want to use that terminology. I want to use the language they give me. So they'll say, so sometimes they'll hear it and say, oh, I want peace of mind. right? I don't want to be a burden. So one level up you want to do in your sales presentations is, again, actively listening, thinking on your feet. How are they describing what it is they want to accomplish? Don't just say what's on the script necessarily, but say what they're saying. Say it in the way that they say it. Okay? It's like why we want to get, it's not, when we're talking about, you know, why do you want coverage? Well, I want my daughter to be protected. What's your daughter's name? Mary. Well, now Mary's going to have peace of mind. You see what happens when you personalize it? Really, it's not just from a beneficiary naming standpoint, but also the language we speak to them, the specific words that they use. That's going to follow the same pseudoscience here, neural patterns, right? And they're going to understand you better because of the language you're speaking. That makes sense? Cool.
I got one quick question.
Yes, I got the mic. Yes.
So why would he ask her, are you open to hearing an additional $5,000 quote?
I don't like it.
What's that?
I don't like it.
Yeah, because what if she says no? What's he doing?
Yeah.
That's a yes or no question.
Yeah. What's up? Marcus. What's up, Marcus?
But he's still producing a lot of business. But.
Well, so I think this is good, just so y'all know. It's like this dude, Marcus, everybody's my agency knows Marcus is. He writes like 10 to 15 apps a week like clockwork. And he doesn't even put 25 hours on his phone. He's good. He works same leads. He's good. He's really good. But he still makes little mistakes like these, right? So it's like you don't have to be absolutely perfect.
Right.
You just need to be pretty good and consistent.
Right.
And that's kind of, as you get into this business, this is why it's so important to review your tapes, because your recordings, because you're going to see where your mistakes are, right? And you need to work on the biggest holes in your game. You plug the holes, you go to the next one, and eventually you do have little holes. You'll never be perfect, but if you figure out where your biggest weaknesses are, probably the opening, probably the close, and you really work on that, you can make these little minor, mistakes. I'm like, don't say it. Well, he did it,
Yeah.
But I don't care because, the rest of it's solid.
Well, I think he had a good enough rapport with her at that point that he could do that, and she already expressed interest. And
yeah, when you have rapport and you've got connection, man, so much of this language script stuff is excusable.
Yeah.
The problem is the new agents who they'll think I'm saying, well, Dave said don't use the script. Dave said just connect with them. It's like, yeah, but just follow the script.
Now, how many leads does Marcus buy to do 10 or 15 deals a week?
150 to 200. He buys a lot. I mean, he's all in, baby. That's the problem too. A lot of agents do. We'll get to that in a minute, more detail, but you got to be all in. You got to have the opportunity. You got to have people to talk to. Some people, when they come into brokering or they buy their own leads, they get too few. And it takes time to connect with people. Not everybody connects the first week that you talk to them. It takes some time.
How long has he been doing it?
2.5 years.
Now, I know speaking with I can't remember who I spoke to at your agency, the intake person or, the first person I spoke. And you also have leads available aged right now for like cheap, $1.80 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a good way to, I don't teach agents to rely on aged leads.
Right.
Good practice.
It's good practice, and it's a way to bridge the gap because again, we'll save the bulk of this for that section, but I'll talk about it a little bit. Brokering, you need to have 5,000 to 8,000 a month with us. Now you can do it for less elsewhere, but you're going to come into all sorts of problems. That's why we do free leads for agents that can't afford that yet. But what happens in that first month, buying leads, when we say brokering, buying leads, higher commission contract, you don't sell all those leads immediately that week you buy them. You sell most of them that week, but the 25% or so take another month to 2 months, sometimes longer. And so the point is that affects your cash flow, that affects your margin, your ability to cover your costs on leads. And in that first month to 2 months, there's a cash flow crunch because the timing of the payments from the carriers is slow. You got to pay for your leads, your mortgage, you know what I mean? And so that encourages some agents who don't understand this going in to buy too few leads. But back to the age leads. The age leads help bridge that gap. Because then you got a ton of leads you can dial on because you can only call the fresh leads so many times a day. Otherwise, they'll be spam likely and you'll wear them out too fast. So the age leads bridge the gap, but they're not a long-term.
Like a supplemental kind of.
Correct. Yeah. They are just in that first month. That's how I'd look at it. Eventually you buy enough leads that you've got, like Marcus, Gabriel, Juan, they all have, Colleen, they all have probably 1,000 to 1,500 leads that are 2 months old, give or take. And as their fresh leads come in, they're called and they don't pick up the phone. They start hitting those other leads that didn't pick up in the last couple of months. So they have their own batch of age leads to work on. So you ultimately, and then that maximizes what money you can pull out of the business because there's never any dead time. That happens a lot in the beginning as a broker because your dialer will dial through 100 leads very quickly. And then there's a quiet period, then you call them again, a quiet period, but that's more intense in the beginning than it is over the course of months. So that's where age leads are useful.
And then on the free leads, those are more aged, or on the free leads, are those more aged or those mixture? How does that work?
Mixture, it depends. Let me save that for later if you don't mind.
Okay.
I just want to make sure we get the script done, but I have no problem talking about that. But
okay.
Stay on course here. Any questions about Marcus underwriting? Okay, let's keep going.
Okay. Now, I have a few more questions here. Any recent hospitalizations in the last 2 years?
No.
Okay, very good. And then any mental disorders like bipolar, schizophrenia, PTSD, Alzheimer's, dementia?
No.
Okay. Any alcohol or drug abuse?
Oh, absolutely not.
And you're not out here trying to rob a bank, are you? You ain't out here.
No.
Okay, good.
No.
Okay. These are the questions on the application. I have to ask. Yeah, I know they're a little. I know you are probably the sweetest old lady ever.
Oh, I've
Don't do
never
that.
even smoked marijuana. Are you kidding me?
That was dumb.
Never. I'm
Not a lot.
58 and I ain't never touched it.
And let me tell you, not a lot of people can say that. So that's freaking awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
And then, okay, awesome. So if this was a math test, I'd give you an A+. You're doing good. I have a few more questions here, okay? So, Dorothy,
right.
I do work with a handful of insurance companies, so some of them only take certain payment methods. With that other policy that you have, are you paying on that automatic through the checking account?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And very important there. This is an important pre-qualification question. Your final expense carriers accept some forms of payments, others don't. Your clients don't just have bank accounts, okay? There's about 10 to 15 million people who are unbanked, who are adults. So they don't actually have a Regions account or Bank of America. What they have is a Chime card, Direct Express, NetSpend. What are some other ones out there? Cash App.
They use the post office. They get money
orders.
Mail them, you can go
yeah.
at the post office. So,
now, if you're getting Social Security, you're required to have an account to deposit in. So the point is that your carriers will not all take all forms of payment. So you have to ask this question early enough before you pitch the product, because you may pitch a product you can't collect on. And there's no direct bill. Never, ever take a direct bill for insurance. Okay, it's all automated draft. It's just a question of, is it a bank account or something else? Okay, that's all we're asking here. And the way he asked it was important. Did y'all catch that? He says, is your Gerber plan or was your other life insurance plan doing a bank draft? Kind of made it like, what's your other plan doing? Not what will you do with me? Some people may be a little off, but that was a little thing he used that isn't necessarily in the script. But the way we ask it typically is, do you have a valid U.S. bank account? And then if you don't, okay, do you work with Direct Express, a debit or credit card? What's the name of it? So what happens? That makes sense? What happens if they're like, I don't do bank drafts at this point. I don't do cards. I'm not letting you have my bank account. What do you do with this? What do you do here?
tell them can't sell them.
Do you continue in the script and pitch them?
No.
Why you waste your time? You can have a client that otherwise is perfect, ready to go, but if they're not giving you a bank account draft, You don't have a client. You have a suspect, not a prospect. All right. Certainly not a client. So I want you to hang the phone up and be blunt. Mrs. Mildred, I can't help you if you can't let me draft your account. That's what the companies require. How do you want to proceed? I told you I don't know bank draft. All right. Have a good day. Find a real prospect. Please don't waste your time. This kind of speaks to the mindset issue. I don't want you grinding on these clients that don't want to play the game, because that's going to get in your head. And then you're going to bring that baggage to the next call. All right, you got to protect yourself. This is tough. The business is tough, mentally and emotionally. So if they don't want to play, move on. Okay? Give them a chance. Say, hey, look, I'd love to help you, but this has to be done this way. Now, if we get to the close, that's different. Please don't confuse this. This is in the qualification phase. We're not even asking them about the bank account numbers. We're just asking if they've got an account. And if they're pushing back on that, at this point, it just gets worse. And I've tried to do it where I'd run the ball all the way down the field, and it just ends up being a big, big F, big fail, big lose. Okay. Question back. Mike, hand it back. Backwards. Right. Other back. Man in the back.
In the back corner. In the beginning, she said she was in an important meeting.
No, this is a different client.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the call. Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
but
Very important.
so people will start to blow you. And I've gotten the same on the banking part. Yes, they're leery. Maybe they've been double drafted, overdrafted.
Yeah.
So my initial thought to you and I know you're kind of tongue in cheek, not just hang up on them right then, but
yeah,
feel through that. But because they've been burnt somewhere.
Yeah.
So when they say, "Oh, I don't give my thing out," would you give any kind of pushback?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because
that happens more probably when we ask for the bank account, the specific numbers, routing, checking. You're going to get pushback with some people. You absolutely want to push back and say, "What happened? Why did it happen?
Yeah.
I've been burned. We're different." And
yeah,
then
very smart to bring it up early, because if you wait to the end, like a social, you address these things earlier on to get them to object earlier. And when you do it at the end, that's when they go, "Oh, I don't want to give you my social. I don't want to give you my bank account." So I like that it's being addressed earlier on.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it. I want to make sure everything all right there.
The cat hair.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I warned you.
You did. It's like tickling my nose. That's enough.
Yeah, so we definitely fight for the sale, especially at that point at the end. I'm not giving y'all any leeway to not fight. Don't get me wrong. But we want to address this stuff early. I would say 10% of people can't wait to give you their bank account because they just do everything bank draft. They love it. 10% hate it. Doesn't matter what you say. And this kind of fleshes it out early on. But 80% of people, it just depends on what you say and how you say it. They'll give it out as long as they trust you. Okay. So most of the time we can get it. It's just here we're just trying to get rid of the people who are totally unreasonable. All right, let's keep going.
Can keep you around that price range, around $25 to $30 a month. Is that where you feel comfortable shopping around in?
Yeah. Now, is that gonna be together, the 10,000 together, or?
All right. One thing before we get into this is a little different than the script up here. I want you to, again, here's a fundamental reality. Americans suck at math. Okay? If you try to explain math in any way that's complex, you will see their eyes glaze over. They'll just like out of body experience. and they'll say, "Yeah, I get it." Yeah. They don't want to seem stupid by saying, "No, I'm stupid. I don't understand," or whatever they're thinking, right? So why am I saying this? I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm trying to help you guys understand that when it comes to like you'll kind of hear this. I heard this when I was listening to this, so I'm mentioning it. You can really make the math stuff too complex too soon. And you'll leave people in a sense, if they don't understand it, if people are confused, they don't buy. So
whenever you're talking about the math, and this really is just, you got to just do it and experience it and think about it. Simplify your messaging. Okay? Make it easy to understand, therefore easy to buy. If you make it too complex, it goes over their head. And you can hear it if you listen to it. Not just on this call, but others. So this is why typically, now Marcus didn't do this, so I'm just going to train you on this. We, at this point, qualify the script, or qualify the pricing, excuse me. So why do we do that? Because I want to know what kind of price range my client can afford. I don't like, and this is the problem, there's a lot of MLMs out there, blah, 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 is one that comes to mind. They're notorious for coming in and blasting Mildred with the $25,000 plan, even though she's on disability making $800 a month. They just go for the jugular. And this is why in final expense, you get all these complaints about persistency sucking, business falling off, because you have these dudes and dudettes too, that come in and blast huge premiums, regardless of the sensitivity to the client able to pay it. And to some extent, our clients will just buy to just get you off the phone if you're too high pressure. Okay? So they'll buy it to get rid of you and then cancel it, or call their bank to cancel the draft. So my point in saying this is that I don't want to sell my clients something they're going to drop. I mean, who wants a lapse? Who would rather have a policy that's less premium, but we have a high chance it's going to stick? I would want that all day long. So it's not about the biggest sales. It's about the best sales. And the best sales are the ones that stick. The policy that pays is the policy that stays. All right? So what we use to do this is called selling the premium. What the other MLMs do out there is they sell the face amount. Mildred, here's your $25,000 plan for $200 a month, whatever, right? What we do instead is sell the premium or the budget. So we can get buy-in to the budget. I mean, think about it. Car sales is the perfect example. Most people get a loan to purchase a vehicle, and they don't care about MSRP or what the sticker price is because they're not paying cash. They care about what their monthly pay is. If you've ever been on a car salesman, that's what you care about, okay? Because that's reality. Same thing with premiums. What people care about is what they can afford. If you can get something they can afford, they can say yes to it. Now it's your job to sell why whatever it is they can afford as far as the amount makes sense for them. So if it ends up being $10,000 and they wanted $15,000, you should be able to sell that still. It's very doable. It's not that hard. Because if it fits their budget, they're going to keep it. And you're not going to have nearly as many lapses as the other guys. Make sense? So here's how the script normally goes. This is a potential policy replacement. Marcus goes off script. So here's how it usually sounds. Okay, this is really looking good for you. Now what I'm about to say is really important. Everyone I work with is on a fixed income. The last thing I want you to get is a policy that's too expensive. I'm speaking to the fact that I know they're on a fixed income. I know they're sensitive to price, and I respect that. Our clients love that, okay? It's like what we mentioned earlier. I help people on a fixed income in the introductory statement. There's no reason to get a plan that you have to let go because it's too expensive, right? That's why it's my goal to qualify for a program or policy that's easily affordable. Make sense? So at this point, what we do is say the following. Here's the good news. We've talked to a lot of people that have had price quotes as much as $400 from other agents, and thankfully our prices are a lot lower. Now, this is just to know where to start shopping for policies for you. Should I start shopping in the range between $100 to $150 a month? So let's talk about this. Why do I say this? Who have had price quotes as much as $400 a month?
Still value.
Why is that valuable?
Comparing now what that number is to everything that they see now.
What do you know what they call that in sales?
Shock value.
Price anchor. Right. Yes. We are anchoring what expensive is. We're anchoring that $400 is what expensive relatively is. So when our clients, instead of thinking 100, 150 is expensive and then risking them hanging the phone up, they'll think we're doing them a service because we're not ripping them off with $400. Yeah, it's high, but it's not a ripoff. Does that make sense?
So it gives us kind of the validation to pitch a higher price. Now, please understand, I'm in business to make money. Everybody likes to say, I'm here to help my clients, and I'm too. But if y'all don't make money, y'all don't help people. So there's this dichotomy. It's both and. I want to help people, but I want to make a lot of money too. All right. And I'm quoting high because if I don't ask for it, I ain't getting it. When I close, let me ask you an example of this. If I ask Mrs. Jones, here's 100, 125, 150 a month, and she selects 150 a month, what am I thinking?
I'll let someone on the table.
Damn, should I ask for 200? All right, I'm happy. I'm not complaining, but I'm thinking, maybe I should have asked a little bit more. Because if they pick that one, there probably was more. And the truth is, you risk losing that to the next guy that calls in and recognizes that. So you have a moral obligation to get as much as you can that they can reasonably afford. Okay. So price anchor, 100 to 150 a month. What if they say, I might be able to afford that? We got it?
No.
Oh, you watch my videos. Good. Why? All right, I'm putting you on the spot. Give this man the mic. Why? What's the problem with that? Let me pass it up.
Forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Why is I might be able to afford that a problem?
Because she ain't not direct, yes.
Right. What do you call a maybe? A no.
Really, maybe a no mean that you think about your other bills you got and
you're not committed.
You're not committed. Yeah.
Right. So there's only one answer. Yes. And with certainty. Not like, yeah. That's not a yes. That's like a 95% of the way there. But that's 100% no in my book. Okay. Did you have a question, Beck?
Would you anchor that according
That's
to,
good.
like she just said she's only paying $28 a month.
Yeah, that's what Marcus is doing. Yeah. So Marcus is looking to take the replacement. So he's not trying to sell this like the script way. He knows what she's working with and kind of, but he really hasn't done a good job yet figuring out what it is that she wants and why. It goes back to the problem I mentioned earlier. Like maybe she wants 25,000. I don't know. He's imprinting his reasons on her, which is not what you want to do. You want to discover what her reasons are. You just have to ask. And then we would kind of know what to do at that point. But yeah, what you're saying in the back is Marcus is kind of he's going to ask about $28, $30 a month, and he's assuming that that's kind of comfortable for her. But that's a big jump. Wouldn't necessarily recommend that because you're kind of operating without clarity. So they say I might be able to afford that. Here's my response. Hey, that's fine, right at the bottom. No worries. Let me find you a different plan. If I can qualify you for a plan between 75 and 100 a month, would that fit your budget? Now we're asking yes, no questions because we need to know with complete certainty you can't afford this or not. Okay. But now I'm backing the price down. And until I hear a 100% confirmation yes, I will not stop. I don't care if it's $10 a month. I have no shame. I'm all about activity. I want to get policies on the books and people approved for coverage. Yeah, absolutely. I do. Hey, if that's all they can afford, I'm doing them a service. They're helping me and help them. So I love this strategy. I love this strategy because I can get the big premiums when they present themselves without blowing the relationship and rapport with the ones who can't afford it. Think about it. I got the price anchor. That helps. They can tell me it doesn't fit. I'm cool with that when it comes to price because I'm not about pushing high premium. I lower it down sequentially. I don't go right to 20. I lower it down from high to not so high, the mid to mid, low to low, right? I stair step it down. So I expose myself to all of the opportunity wherever it may present itself inside of the prospect, with the prospect. Make sense? So my theory and why I have done this since I started in 2011 and continually have done it, changed the script somewhat. But this is always a mainstay because
I want you all to get as much premium out of every sale that you can while respecting the budget of the client. Because that maximizes your profit and it maximizes their benefit too. Okay. Any questions on this? Let's hand the mic, gentlemen.
But let's say when you're having the conversation, they tell you they want a traditional burial.
Yeah.
And they're saying, oh, they could only afford $15 a month. And you know that a traditional burial, and based upon their situation, they're not going to get $12,000 policy. What do you do in that situation?
So you don't talk about that yet, number one, because remember when we went back, we talked about something earlier about you, like I was looking at you saying that 10 to 15, you like the client wants 10,000, they want 15, but they can only afford 10. This is where your salesman capabilities come into play. You got to be able to convince them why they can only, because of their budget restrictions, that why they should still buy. Because the option then becomes, is it worth spending the money because it's not what I want? So in other words, I want you guys to help me out with this because this is going to happen to you and you got to be able to position this. Let's say we have a client, the traditional burial is $50 for 10,000. They can only afford 20. So that's about 4,000 in premium, or 4,000 in face amount roughly. How would you sell that? Anybody want to take a stab at that? Like, why would somebody want to buy way less than what they originally wanted? You got to be good at this. This is real important. Anybody?
Some coverage is better than none.
Thank you. Something's better than nothing. Burn that into your mind. Something's better than nothing. All right. Why is something better than nothing? Let's just think about it for a second. Why would somebody want to have a small policy instead of?
It would reduce their burden on their children or whoever else would be covering the rest.
Yeah, and go ahead. Yeah, in what ways?
You can always come back later, check in with them, see if they can now afford some more. Maybe they paid something off.
Yeah. Hold that thought, sir. I'm going to come back to that. So important. Would a funeral home rather have a policy than no policy to deal with? What are they going to do if you don't have a policy? They're going to put you in the ice box. And then you're going to have to figure out how to come up with the money, right? But if you have something to start with, it's leverage. And there are funeral homes that will work with the family. They got a reputation to uphold. You know, as much as you'll hear it talking to our clients like, the funeral homes, scammers, blah, blah, blah. Some of them are. But the ones who've been around for multiple generations sincerely care about the reputation. And they run across people all the time of limited means where tragedy occurred without preparation, and they do what they can to help. And if you've got something in place, it's so much better than nothing. Okay. And the big thing, what gentleman back here said, what's your name? Joe. Joe. Thanks, Joe. Joe makes an excellent point. And I've deciphered this after doing this so many times, and I finally put the pieces together after years. If you tell them, hey, this is a starter plan, let's get you started with something. You're healthy today, but tomorrow's not promised. Let's get you started here. We'll call you back in 6 or 12 months, and we'll see how your budget looks at. That sells. Like if somebody's on the ledge there, that sells big time. You should always be using that. Anybody's kind of hesitant because it's not enough coverage or their money's tied or something, like that is huge. That makes a huge difference. Does everybody get that? Something's better than nothing. Let's get you going with something. And you should be calling back in 6 to 12 months. And you'll be surprised how many more of them buy. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Paula and raspiness. I know I've had people call back and say that, since you weren't pushy and you were so nice because you were sensitive to their financial thing.
Yeah.
My husband passed, unfortunately, but now my Social Security is higher. Can I get what I really need? It happens, especially if you were nicer to them, because sadly, it sounds like not everybody is. They just, like you said, that one company, they just drive it in their face, but it'll come back to you.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I will tell you this, since we're on the topic,
it's a little fuzzy kitty hair.
Is it my cat hair still on there? I'm sorry.
It's all over me usually.
I've written about 1,500 policies in my career from about 11 to 19. And I would say about half of those, about 750 to 1,500, I was adding coverage to.
Yeah.
What's the first thing I thought when I realized that? None of these agents are calling back their clients, man. These are easy sales. They think you said, you know, they're believers, they're buying a premium. You said that earlier. It's true. If they're spending the money, they know they believe in it. You just got to convince them why your deal is a better deal or why it's a good reason to add. And that's a lot easier than taking somebody who's ice cold, never had a policy before. I pitched a lady in a senior facility here in Atlanta, and she was 80 and she never had life insurance. I didn't get the sale. I mean, she's 80 and doesn't have life insurance. You know, she's been pitched a million times. So I'm not that good, but that's the thing. Those are difficult clients. I'd rather you sell people that not only have coverage, but you sold it to them. Those are easy sales. Those are about like referrals. It's you going after it again, but you've got to be proactive with it. That comes with the CRM stuff we'll talk about a little bit later. Okay. Any questions about the sell the premium script and why I love it so much? Any concerns, worries? They won't hang up on you when you do 100 to 150. Don't worry about it. It's all in how you say it, how you position it. I won't say nobody, maybe 1 out of 99 will. But you probably weren't going to get that anyway. Okay, perfect. So, and I'll tell you this, our average on 9,000 policies sold over the last couple of years is $954. So that's $80 a month in premium. I don't know what it is with the other way, but because I've never done it the other way, but for what it's worth, you know, our average premium is about $80 a month. Okay. All right. Let's continue. Gosh, is it lunchtime already?
Yeah, this hour went quick.
Yeah, man. All right. So let's ask you, do you want to take a break or do you want to go for like 30 more minutes?
30 more minutes.
Yeah.
30?
Yeah.
All right, 30 more minutes and then we'll take a break of some length. Okay. You know, I've got another sales call we haven't even talked about. I've got objection. I mean, I don't know if we'll get to it all. Then I got a lot more stuff to talk about. Be here all night. All right.
Am I gonna still pay my payment on Gerber and then pay y'all too? Is that how it works?
Well, here's what we can do. If we were considering combining everything, we can save you some money that way.
Okay.
Okay. So with that Gerber, that's the one that had that 2-year waiting period, huh? It didn't start right away. Oh,
No.
it starts right away?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. Okay. So, and then was that a term?
No, just for your record, Gerber sells direct to consumer through the mail. It is almost, I mean, I'll 100% sure, just a marginally less of 100% sure. They're almost always a 2-year wait.
Okay.
So 2-year wait, in case you don't know, is there's no natural death coverage for the first 2 years. Okay. So if it's within the last 2 years they took it out and you can get the client level coverage, you should try to replace it because that's not going to pay full coverage. If it's been longer than 2 years, seriously consider not touching it.
Yeah.
Because it's full coverage, it's out of contestability. Probably better just to leave it. Okay. But you could consider, it depends on the price and the offer. But just wanted to note that with you.
Term policy or was it whole life?
It's whole life.
Whole life? Okay, good. That's what I'm recommending for you is whole life. So with whole life, your coverage never cancels and the price never goes up. Now, out of all the companies that we ran for you.
Okay, so again, kind of a truncated talk on the building value section. So at this point, just to recap, we now have a client who is, let's see, they're interested in a policy. They have the right kind of bank account and they should have a budget. This is a qualified prospect. This is a good chance you're going to close this person. Okay. You've uncovered all of the major sticking points earlier on instead of later. That's always the ideal. Okay. So at this point, we start to build value. Eventually, we're going to present the price and close. But I want to make sure that we understand, we used to have a much more detailed value building section. But by this time, again, people buy because of you, not the company. So there's a relationship and a trust at this point in most cases. So we have a very truncated short version of building value. Typically what we say, is the following. Do you know the difference between term and whole life? The easiest way to understand the difference is this: term terminates and whole life lasts your whole life. Okay. And what we're going to get you is a whole life policy because it doesn't terminate. It lasts your whole life till you die. And bottom line, whole life insurance never canceled due to age or health. And all plans have a rate lock guarantee. I stole this from Colonial Penn. They use this in their advertising all the time. It's a great term, rate lock. Rate lock guarantee. Great thing. People kind of are familiar with it. So when you say it, it's that kind of language thing they've been embedded with. It's nice. Meaning they never go up. Sounds like what you're looking to get. That's it. That's all we talk about whole life. We don't go into any more detail. Now, we don't talk about guaranteed issue yet. We're going to get there because a gentleman in the front talked, well, how do you sell somebody on a 2-year wait? You know, they're not covered for 2 years naturally, only accidentally. Like that's, we'll talk about that. That comes in a second. So we'll discuss that in a minute.
You are pre-qualified for that level first day coverage. And this is with, if you want to write this down on a piece of paper, you can go ahead. I'll let me know whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Look at that. You already got the pen and paper ready? That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Is the name of the company.
Okay.
And $10,000. Oh, I'm missing the most important thing. This is day one coverage too. So it starts right when you make the first payment. Just like the Gerber policy, you don't have that 2-year waiting period.
Okay, so yeah, just there's 2 different tracks here depending on what the client is medically qualified for. And again, how do we know which way to go? You've run it on insurance toolkits already, okay? And you already know before you've gotten to this point. You've medically underwrote the policy, so you kind of know what track go. Now, where Marcus is going is qualifies for first day level full coverage on the left. He left out a couple of things. Like I like to mention the fact of how long they've been around, because that's a validation effect. Hey, this company's been around since X date. They've been around a long time. You can trust them. Kind of the implication. Okay. I also, if I like to know the rating class, like if it's an A or A plus, I always like to mention that too as well. I think that's very useful. Okay. And then we just say, hey, you're covered immediately. First day full coverage after the first premium payment. Okay. With no 2-year wait. So keep it just, okay. Any questions about that? So the hard thing to sell, or the seemingly more challenging thing to sell, is the guaranteed issue graded coverage. So for the newbies out there, if you're wondering, guaranteed issue 2-year wait only pays accidental till 2 years have passed, and then it's natural and accidental. Graded is typically the same, but there's underwriting. Guaranteed issues with no health questions. That could be Mutual of Omaha's graded. We sell a lot of that. Guarantee Trust Life has a unique graded plan. It has 50% of the face amount in the second year, so you get more coverage than its full 2-year wait. So we like using that when it's sensible. AIG is a 2-year wait, and then Sika is a 2-year wait. So the way that I like to sell this is that we like to use the fact that we like to reference the fact that this plan is going to be better than a bank account. Because the alternative to buying a final expense plan, if you don't buy it, if you truly qualify for a 2-year wait, but you don't take it, what else are you going to do? You're just going to put your money in your bank, right? Bank account doesn't pay any interest. It's negligible. So we drum up the fact that if they die in the first 2 years, they get their money back plus 5%, 10%, whatever the number is. And with GTL, it's 50% of the face amount in the second year. So after 12 months, they're half covered for the death benefit. That's great. Considering if they're in these plans, their health is terrible. They're like 9 toes in the grave. And we're delivering a blessing. Don't feel guilty you're selling guaranteed issue. It's a mindset shift. You sell guaranteed issue because, man, there's nothing else out there for this client. You're doing a good service. You are. Think that way. Now, if you're rolling up here and selling GI and it's a perfectly healthy client, like the companies do that send the junk mail, they do it all the time. I don't care. They perfectly healthy people force them into 2-year waits and they bury it in the fine print. We don't do that. yeah, that's a problem, but not what we do. Okay. So likewise, like what we do here, we set it up the same way. We do sell the fact that the good news is that accidental coverage starts full on the first day. And then even better, if you die due to non-accidental reasons in the first 2 years, your family gets the money back plus 10% interest paid on. I was like, it's still like when I was a newer agent, it's like, it's still 2-year wait. I mean, it's not full coverage. I want to help my client. Now I really want to help them. But when you tell this to people, they're like, oh, I get my money back if I die early? Oh, great. Yeah, you get your money back. Oh, okay. Like I can hear them now. Now I hear it. They're sold. When you say this part, if you die, your family gets the money back. Even if it was no interest, they're like, do I at least get my money back? Yeah, okay. And you can hear them like say in their voice, like, okay, I'll buy. So make sure you say that. And then we continue to sell it. It's like a high interest savings account to start with full insurance ending at year 2. And again, the end here, I'll be honest with you, you getting this plan is a true blessing because of the congestive heart failure, the oxygen, the dementia, you fill in the blank. And it is. Start thinking that way. Because if you are like milquetoast about this, if you don't believe and have the mindset that this is a blessing, they'll sense that you think it's a bad deal. And then they will be like, well, let me think about it, more. Any questions about that? Yes, a guy in the back. Let's hand that mic out. Thank you.
I didn't have a question, but I had something to add just to help other agents that are doing this. This is a blessing. My dad fought COPD. He had leukemia. He had a 15-year battle. He went, in and out of treatments, and he was able to get one of these policies when he was in remission. And that was able to help our family bury him and give him the burial that he deserved. So just letting you know, like, this is actually something you are helping people when you do this.
Yeah. And I always felt, past that, I always felt like my mindset, my incorrect mindset about this was I really want to give people, I'm a people pleaser. I really want to give them the best, but I can't because their health and the carriers, right? So I would feel bad about it. But you have to reframe how you think about this. It's absolutely worth it. And it is absolutely a blessing. Go ahead, sir.
I just want to, the scripture sent us yesterday has that split?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I hope
so.
Okay. If it doesn't,
do most of the guaranteed issue policies, or even if you're going through foresters or mutual and they bump them down, do they pay? I think you mentioned that they pay if they don't die naturally. Do most of them pay?
Yes, 100%
I've
accidental.
done this for years. I had no idea. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So if they die naturally, but if they die, bus
Full
accident, go
coverage.
down in a cruise.
Yeah. Again, use every leverage point you got, guys.
That's
It's
key.
100%. I mean, they may fall down the stairs. I don't know. Could happen. Die in a car wreck. I don't know. Yeah.
Add that to- Am I the only one that's done this for a while and didn't know that? How did I miss that?
That's funny. It's funny. There's things like that where you'll do it and it's like, oh, things that you thought maybe should have been obvious, but they weren't.
Yeah.
I mean, I will get to the objection handling here at the end. I was so stupid how I handled objections, But then I watched others and realized, oh, now that's why they do it that way. Go ahead, sir, in the back.
Okay, so are we done with underwriting at this stage?
Yes.
Because we are basically committing to the client that this
Yes.
is the first day or.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we know where they're at before we got there.
Okay.
That's where that insurance toolkits came in. We know what carrier it's with. We know what policy, the premium, the face amount, the likelihood they're going to get covered, so we can confidently pitch this. This is why we don't talk about this before all that.
Okay, so there's no more MIB stuff or.
Oh yeah.
Or
No, we gotta
felony.
do that. This is so. We want to underwrite with. This is the agent underwriting it, but this gets us a lot closer to what we would hope is the actual outcome of underwriting with MIB. Because if we go that route, we have to submit an app. And I want to know before I submit the app that I am likely to get it, which at this point I am.
Okay.
So this is setting us all up to then apply. Okay, questions? Right.
For 10,000 in coverage, you're looking at $43.05 a month. Okay. And that's what I'd recommend, just combining everything all into one. So let's take a look here to see if it makes sense. You have 5,000 already with Gerber, and you're paying $28 a month?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you went with Gerber and you stayed with them, to get another 5,000 with them would cost you $56 a month. So you'd be saving about $13 a month switching everything over to Sika. And it's still day one coverage, so you don't have to wait the 2 years, or it's not like you're losing anything. You know, you still have the protection. And it's going to give you that peace of mind knowing that your family's going to have more than enough to cover the cremation and leaving some extra money behind for the kids.
Right.
Now, my job here is simple. Okay, so first what we got to do for you is submit your application over to see if we can get you that approval. Okay, now if you do get an approval with
this is an assumed close. Notice how he wasn't like, which one do you want to start with? He said, as I process it now, this is a little different than what we teach in the regular scripted approach. But he's selling past the sale. This is a technique that I didn't do because my mother grew me or raised me to be permission based and to ask, say yes, no, and all that crap. And but what you want to do is presume at certain moments of the sale, really mentally from the time they pick up the phone, that you're going to get the sale. And your language pattern should assume they're going to get it. So like you should be saying, hey, instead of saying, if you take this $10,000 plan out, you should say, hey, this $10,000 plan you're going to get, it's going to do the following. You should be saying, you see the adjustment there? You're selling past the sale. You're helping them have the policy right now versus give them the option to consider it. Okay, you're going to get it versus will you get it? Yes or no? Does that make sense? So at this portion, you should have language that presumes they're going to get it, that presumes that they already have it. Okay?
But you wouldn't give another alternative because you already started with 100, 150. You're all the way down to 40.
Well, not on that.
This is
Okay.
There's good stuff about this, and then there's stuff about this that follows the script, and this part doesn't. You know, so yeah. So but
still making bank.
Yeah, exactly. And now Marcus here but what he's doing here is he's saying, hey, when we take this out, he's selling past the sale. So that's the point I want you to understand is he's not asking for permission. Okay. A couple other things I wanted to point out here. Sometimes you do get some pushback and some like hesitation. A couple of tools that are really good is Crank Wheel. Anybody use Crank Wheel before? It is a one-way camera like Zoom, but one way where you can send a link to the client, but you don't have to see them, that they see you. And then you can say, hey, I'm real. I'm not AI. This is really me. Here's my cats, you know, or whatever. So it humanizes the sales process. Okay. It's cheap. Crank Wheel. It's an app. It's like the Hail Mary close, really. I mean, we're not using this on every call, but it does help. We use Hi Hello for business cards. I think that's pretty cheap. Sometimes we'll send that out early on, really more in the introduction part, just to put a face with a name. I like all this stuff because, again, it's very easy to just treat somebody on the phone like they're not human, and that I mean, these days, who knows, right? Might be AI. I don't know. So by sending them this kind of information, it helps humanizes you, and people will treat you a little bit more respectfully.
Okay, what is Hi Hello? I'm not familiar.
It's a business card application.
It just goes to the phone or something.
Yeah, you just click send and it.
When I used to do the phone, like I said, I didn't do a lot of the telescope.
Sorry.
I used to make them get a pen and paper, which I always like to do anyway, just so I get them involved. But I would always tell them I'm state licensed, and I'd make them write down my name and my license number on the piece of paper.
Face to face or telesales?
On the telesales.
Okay. Yeah.
Face to face, I'd give them a card that had it on there. But the telesales, I would do that. That way they knew I was legit. I'm state licensed when they write that license number down.
Yeah.
But that was just something I did.
Yeah, and nothing wrong with that. In my mind, like what I think is that I just assume everybody thinks I'm full of shit. And then like, what would I do if I did? Well, I would, in the instances where I can humanize myself, I would. So, and what would be the best route that's not too time consuming? So like sending a business card, it's you physically.
Yeah.
It's your branding. It's better than just a number. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Potentially. And then I'm not taking away from the number thing. I just think it's like, I want to, if I'm running into somebody with hesitancy, I want to give them some real stuff.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even know that existed. So I would.
Yeah, for sure. But the point is, like, you may miss sales because stuff like this hinges on, is this legit or not? And everybody has a right to think it's a scam. I mean, with all that's going on, it's just going to get worse. So you want to be thinking this way. And especially in remote, we take it for granted face to face because you being there is legitimate.
Now, do you think as the scamming progresses that the insurance companies will maybe have something where they just send a link for their payment information or something? They will have a link for their payment information and whatnot, so that, we don't actually see it as an agent. It goes directly, with that. Do you think that'll gravitate to that?
You mean having an agentless sales process?
Well, no, just a link, just for the money part. Like you send them a link and they just put their bank account number and all that. That doesn't actually like give it over the phone. The people are like scared to give it.
How would you know though for sure that it wasn't a person scamming as a carrier? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I know, but I mean,
the paranoia is just like, woo,
it just seems like every day everything is a scam, and there's more scams coming and all that. Like, eventually something is going to have to.
I'll tell you this. People make decisions, poor and rich, based off of how you handle yourself and your attitude.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to choose. Like to some extent, this stuff is just training reels, whatever the crank wheel, like that stuff's cool. But if you sound like the man and you know what you're talking about, they'll sense that. That's hard. You can fake that. You can train that, and you should. But that's more important than some doohickey that seems like it, and it kind of works. But ultimately, people are going to buy because they trust you, because of how you present yourself, how you sound on the phone, your confidence level, right?
Right.
This is part of the reason we cut down the script. You can over-explain yourself. You can over-explain things and talk yourself out of a sale. And that's more important now, because it's just sound like you have authority. That's the trick. And people will just believe it. It's crazy.
Seniors.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Let's hand that over. Yeah.
No. I just quick that. I just know I have the trust and the authority when they refer to me as the insurance man. Like they'll call their daughter and like, oh, I need a social because the insurance man. Right. Meaning they've got that trust.
Yeah. But that was earned through a process like this, or your script, right? Yeah. And so yeah. But yeah, you're 100% right. Like, yeah. And that will always be the case, I think, to some extent. And that's why it's so important to, again, we follow a script because it is a track to build and have this authority if you're inexperienced. But then over time, you work on your tonality, you obviously get experience, and it comes out intuitively and naturally. And people make decisions. Poor people, rich people, everybody into it, just how you sound. You sound like you know what you're talking about. Sound like you got your shit together. Crazy. I mean, I think it is. I'm an analytical type. Oh, why does this work? How's it? Cut the shit. Get the point. People buy it like that all the time. Okay. All right. See what Marcus does here.
That does not mean you have to make a payment today. Okay. What we can do here is schedule out that first payment so that it lines up with Social Security, and you have some time to think about everything before making that first payment.
Yes. Boo, boo, boo. Oh, what happened? Somebody explain this to the audience why we did that. Why would you think about something you bought? Why would I even suggest that they think about anything? Hell no. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
It's almost like giving them permission to do a chargeback.
Yeah. So there's a close that we use. It's the Hail Mary close, and it's the 30-day policy look. Yeah, so every policy has a 30-day free look provision. I don't ever mention that. Mrs. Jones, you cannot commit. You can commit to not committing today. That's not a sale, but that's what that is. Now, if I don't get any other option, I'm gonna take it, right? But no, we don't talk like that, okay, in non-committal ways, okay? But now the other stuff Marcus is doing, did you notice how he said you don't have to take the payment out today? So he's overcoming these potential objections. I don't know, I got the money today. You don't have to have the money today. We can set it up to draft on your Social Security deposit date. These are all good things. These are good things to like let the air out of the concern that may come in the form of I need to think about it. That makes sense? Now, one thing I will absolutely recommend to you guys. I didn't do this for years, and now we do. Always try to collect the premium up front. Okay, so my thinking was final expense people don't have a lot of money, and I don't want to take any little that they have. But the reality is that some of them do have enough to make the first premium. And the benefit to doing that is A, you get paid faster because you collect the premium, and B, they're tied in. Really, the way we close is it's buy now, pay later. So there is time that they can think about it, even if you don't suggest it, to then cancel the policy. Whereas if you collect the premium up front, they're committed. And the persistency, the sticky rate is much better. Okay? So I recommend when you can, get the premium. Okay? And the way that you do it is you just assume it. Okay, so the premium is going to be this amount, and we're going to take it out after we get approved. If they object to it, they will. Then you just say, okay, no problem. We'll just set it up for you get your check on the 3rd. So you presume that you're going to get it. Okay? Does that make sense? Probably about 30 to 40% of your clients are going to do this. Not all of them. But it's worth trying. Because, again, one of the problems in this business is poor persistency. Business that falls off. And that's largely based off of how you sell, like we talked about the other people that pitch high premium regardless. But it's also what you sell too. Do you sell Social Security deposit? Do you everybody know what Social Security deposit dates are? So you draft a premium on the exact date Uncle Sam pays. Never before, never after. So you beat Mildred to the ATM. And more of your business stays on the books. Okay, so if you can, always Social Security deposit bill, right? And then what you sell. So there was a YouTuber who, I won't name names, but they ran with a company that sold one product in one company, one carrier, okay? Their persistency was like, their placement rate of the policy submitted approved was like 70% or lower. And then their persistency was under 70%. So they were losing like 1 out of 3 of all of their policies every year. You really need to be, you want to be closer to like 70 to 75% if you're remote. If you're face-to-face, probably 75 to 80%. And that's a blend. Your guaranteed issue business tends to lapse more often. I don't know why that is, because I would think they're almost dead. Why don't they keep it? But it lapses. And then, yeah, you're to some extent, the more competitive rates stick better, but not always. You'd be surprised. I can go into more detail on that. But my point is that what you sell matters. And having a diversity of products and shopping around helps lift your overall quality of business. Okay? So this is why, like I did a video the other day, like one-trick pony carrier or one-trick pony agents or agencies, not a good place to be. If you're selling one product to final expense clients, you're going to get replaced a lot. And it's going to be very frustrating. Lots of chargebacks. That's why we want to sell a multitude of products. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. Let's see if we can wrap this up.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, sweetie. Now, okay. For the 10,000, do you feel comfortable with the $43.05 a month? That's without Gerber. So it'll be 43 total. So you'd be adding on.
So this is the eyes glaze over math comment coming back here. Like, was she buying 10,000 or is she buying 5,000? Is she combining? you can tell she's confused, and she's been pretty on the top of things. So this is where you got to be very careful of when you hear this hesitation, pause and make sure it's 100% clear that this is whatever he's pitching her, she understands with entirety. Okay.
You'd be paying an extra $15 a month for $5,000 in extra coverage. If you break it down that way. Does that make sense?
Yes. Now, what about the accidental?
Accidental. So with you add accidental, it's going to be, I believe, an extra $5 a month. So you would have double accidental. You'd have $20,000 in accidental, and then your monthly premium would be $48.05 a month. Now you already have accidental with this policy. It already will pay out $10,000 accidental. If you want to have double accidental, then it'll be $5 a month. Do you understand what by double
accidental? Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. You said it already comes with the 4305?
Correct. Yes, it comes with 10,000 accidental. It has so with this policy, it has terminal illness. What that means is if the doctor diagnoses you with an illness and says, Dorothy, you have 12 months to live, you are able to cash out $5,000 of the policy, so half of it up front, and then the other half at the time of the passing.
Okay.
Okay, and then it also does come with a $10,000 accidental death. So gosh forbid you pass from an accident, you know, at any time after the policy's been in effect.
How y'all feeling about this so far?
Sold.
She's sold? Anybody feel like it's waning?
Yes,
So there's a difference in opinion here. So it's like something's not off. I mean, something's off to some extent. Okay. I think this just stems from the fact that the way that it was presented. Like, I think the way, and again, we're all, you know, armchair quarterbacking this. Okay. So not really a criticism of Marcus. The better way to present it was he actually mentioned it. Hey, it's, you know, I can get you 10,000 if you pay another 17 a month and then have it all with me. Like, there's in one sentence exactly what I'm trying to describe. The one thing she was stuck on though was what? The accidental. Yeah. So this brought something up that was really important. One of the things that's really good to do in your sales pitch is to differentiate beyond just the commodity product we're selling, which is life insurance. Ways to differentiate that include selling accidental, double indemnity, okay? Really good is grandchild coverage. I've had attempts to try to replace existing coverage. Oh, what about my grandkids? I'm like, I don't know. No, I'm not interested in them. Okay. Lose the deal. So grandkid coverage makes it sticky because now it's more not just about the insured, but it's about people the insured loves. Big difference. What else? Oh, funeral concierge. So Lincoln Heritage does this. I abhorred it for years. I have plenty of videos critiquing it. The funeral concierge program is essentially a discount program to help shop the funeral to get a better price. To what extent it's used, obviously, who knows, and to what extent. But it is the sizzle to the steak. And we have that option. Many of the carriers, American Amicable, I believe Transamerica, Guarantee Trust Life, SBLI, when they were in the market, they're not now, have some version of this, Everest, Sequoia, and the concept is the same. You use it, you potentially save up to 30 or 40%. And that is really good sizzle to the steak. It's differentiation that helps you keep the policies you sell. So my suggestion, and we use that as much as we run and sell an American Amicable deal. We sell that, GTL, Transamerica as well. And again, I resisted it for years. That's a sales gimmick, but people value it, and there's potential to get value out of it. And in a product environment that we're in, which is largely a commodity, meaning everybody sells life insurance, it's all whole life, this is a way to differentiate yourself. Okay.
I got a quick question.
Yeah, let's take a couple of questions, and we're going to wrap it up. Then we'll come back and listen to the rest.
Going back to Marcus's presentation, and I don't know if I missed it, but I don't remember him discussing the additional double accident $5 before that. So
no, he didn't.
So it just seems like a weird time to bring it up when you're trying to like basically close the deal, and now you're just bringing in something different for her to
Yes.
think about instead of just saying yes.
I think he brought it up because his interpretation was she had double indemnity, double accident on the Gerber plan.
Okay.
So he was trying to meet the need of what she currently had.
Because I think she just said, what about the accident? Just meaning, does it pay for accident also? Or
Yeah, I think
don't know.
it's just an error that he read into it maybe too much just in the moment.
That might have been what led to the lengthiness, because now he's explaining this whole, and then it's like, just let's get the deal done. And not,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Where he should have said, yeah, it's got accidental.
Yeah.
That might have been, probably would have been sufficient. Is there another question? Yeah, hand that back to the back, and then we'll do you, and then we'll take a 45-minute break. We'll be back at, yeah, we'll go ahead.
So what we do in our office, and it's you or anyone else, is to add extra value, stand out alone, etc., is instead of checking that box for the writer, you know, it's easy, it's a couple bucks, but it's a whole separate policy. The Aflac style, but you know, we use different carriers to build those living benefits,
Right.
or especially with the graded benefit of, you know, isn't it great that your life insurance will also help take care of some medical bills? It's got the extra accidental and so on, because you know they can be 8, 9, 12. You know, they're little, but it only takes you 3 minutes now that you have all the info to write one. And we give a lot of perceived and real value, because I've had clients call and say, my life insurance sent me a check when I fell down the stairs.
Yeah, right.
Good thing I didn't die. But you know, so who was next?
Right. Thank you.
The insurance will pay out the full face amount, so it'll pay out the full 10,000.
Mhm.
Okay. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. My mind's just everywhere.
That math.
Let's. I know it's a little complicated. Let's make it simple here. With your Gerber policy, does it have regular accidental, or is it accidental? Is it going to pay out double if you pass from an accident?
I don't know. I'd have to pull it down. I know it's more than 10. I'm pretty sure it's more than 10,000.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. If it's something that you have to pay extra for, then you most likely got additional coverage accidental. You got additional accidental coverage. Okay.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me. I got it right here, I think, instead of having to pull it down. I know that.
Take your time.
Well, I know that I got a new card, and I didn't call it in, so they sent me a letter. I was like, oops. I have to call the new card in. It's right. Wait. I wonder if they tell me. Okay, for me, accidental is 50,000.
50. Okay. So you have and the reality of the situation, Dorothy, the reason why they're able to offer so much accidental coverage is because the odds of someone passing from an accident, even as you age, are very slim. Very slim. I tell this to I looked up the statistics. You have a better chance of hitting the 4 digits on the lotto, you know, for Mississippi Daily Lotto than a pass from an accident. So it's more so the main thing here is your whole life policy, right?
So this is important. You see here what Marcus is hitting on. So sometimes you'll run into clients who have an abnormally high amount of accidental, and they relate it to, as far as quality goes, to their whole life coverage. But the reality is that, yes, we use accidental as a leverage point to sell, but likewise, we can use it as a leverage point of why it's not as good as what we're offering, okay? So accidental coverage, it requires an accidental form of death, and it has to be verifiably an accident. And that may have some fine print in it. I mean, is it an accident if somebody falls down the stairs and they have Alzheimer's? Is that a function of their natural health issues, or is it an accidental? I mean, look, it's insurance companies, you know how they do things, right? So
And there's a reason, of course, it's so cheap for a lot because it very rarely happens that it pays out. That's why whole life is much more expensive. And that's the point Marcus is making. So this is really important because you'll run across this and you need to be able to dismantle existing policies and show why maybe there's some negative sides to it, and instead show how, hey, instead of investing all this money in a 5,000 with 50,000 in accidental, 5,000 whole life, maybe it's better to have 10,000 of whole life and 20,000 of indemnity accidental, or none, because the likelihood is so low it's ever going to pay. Does that make sense? So you'll do this. Where this is more common is with term insurance. You'll run across somebody who's paying $50 for 50,000 coverage, but it terminates at 80. And you want to sell them 10,000 for the same 50, you're going to get them 10,000. So what you're going to have to overcome is this reality that while, yes, they have a lot of coverage, what's the likelihood they'll outlive it? Pretty high. And it's almost that something is better than nothing close. Do you want to take the risk that you won't be able to qualify for it in the future and wait? And then maybe not have anything, because they may circle around to this 5 years later, but their health is so bad that they can't qualify for it. Does that make sense? That's a harder sale, but you'll run into that more often. Okay. People are so attached to the amount of coverage versus what do they need it for. And so that's why I'm not like a Dave Ramsey guy. Like, I'm not saying whole life is the only thing that matters. Yeah, they're pushing a narrative to benefit themselves. And I think there's benefit to term. But we have a toolbox. My life insurance options are the tools in the toolbox. I'm prescribing an option or a solution based off of the need. And if somebody's worried about dying and for sure having coverage in place, why have a term when you should have a whole? I don't care how big the term is. It's no good if you outlive it. And do you really want to risk that? Especially if you can't afford to. So these are the tactics we'd use to help work down that, okay, maybe I don't need term. Or you do the thing we talked about earlier, which is you start them with less coverage and work up more later. Okay. Any questions on that? Yeah, go ahead.
How long ago was this call recorded?
Probably a year ago.
About a year ago. Okay. And you said his name is Marcos, is it?
Marcus.
Marcus. Okay. Yeah. One of your best agents? Got it. Perfect.
Numero uno.
Oh, nice.
He's the man. Man with a plan.
And that's the main thing. Now, you can still get additional accidental coverage with Sika, or I can get you just your whole separate accidental policy with a different company. But with Sika, the pricing for your main benefit is you get more bang for your buck with Sika. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm one that don't like to, I was just curious.
See what happens?
I have a hard time like.
You see how we make this complex and confuse people. If you're confused, you don't have assurances and you don't buy. Why would you take the risk? Something she's got's better than something you got that she doesn't. So we have to work on simplifying this message, right? And you can just hear it. Like, she was all in on it until he started getting complex with the replacement and how it works. Okay.
Changing something. Yeah, my guaranteed life is 5,000, and the accidental, yeah, it's 50,000.
So the agent that sold you that, he just said something that caught my attention. Does it say guaranteed issue on that policy?
Guaranteed life.
Okay.
Catch that?
Yeah.
That means it's a guaranteed issue plan. It's a 2-year wait. That's important because she thought it was first April coverage. I don't know how into the weeds he'll get. But again, this is leverage here. She's hesitant. Well, maybe this is something else he can drive into it to get the whole thing, to get the sale, because without it, she's not covered for 2 years for natural death. Okay. Yeah.
Would there ever be a good time to collect the information that he's receiving and then reschedule another appointment?
No, never.
Never.
Yeah, the first call is the last call. The witness protection programs, that's where they go.
Has he ever established if she's in that 2-year period yet or no?
No. Mark, this is one of probably Mark's worst call.
Does he know you're using this?
No, that's all right. He's very good. But you know, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of the very best don't do everything perfectly by the book. You know, what'd you say?
This probably is their call.
There you go. Right. We'll say that.
So what guaranteed means, did they ask you any health questions on the application?
Yes.
Okay. So I was getting a little concerned here because guaranteed usually means that you have to wait 2 years for it to kick in. And that's what Gerber.
Okay, well, I've had this policy, let's see if it tells me. It doesn't, but I know that I've had it. I have had this for a long time. I just can't remember when I added myself. Because I had it on Peyton.
That's a grand.
Then I added myself. I guess about a year ago I added myself.
Long time, folks.
But they didn't say, if I remember correctly, they didn't say anything about it having to be 2 years.
So directly on their website, it's saying here, you got the guaranteed life insurance. So guaranteed guaranteed insurance from Gerber Life is a whole life insurance policy that does not require a medical exam or ask health questions. You're accepted guaranteed regardless of health. What that means, so if they don't ask health questions in America, you know, Dorothy, you and I both know there's no such thing as a free lunch in America, right? What's the catch? If they don't ask health questions, then how do I get the insurance? And that is, your insurance doesn't start until after you've had it for 2 years.
They never said that to me. Now, Peyton's had it way over 2 years.
So Peyton is fine. She has a child's whole life policy. Hers started right when the first payment went through. Now, and I've been doing this for a long time. Now, there are some crooked agents out here in this world, Dorothy. There's people that really don't care about anything but themselves, and they just want to make a dollar, and they could care less about what happens to you and your family. I don't work like that. I make sure I'm educated on every product, on every carrier, on everything that I do to make sure that you have the peace of mind knowing that when you pass away, your family's going to have enough money to pay for your cremation.
So what he's trying to do now, he knows there's blood in the water, right? Because she's had it less than a year or about a year, so she's not fully covered. And so this is, and he knows he's losing the sale, or there's been some kind of lack of it, like moving away from it. She's moving away. So he's got to move on this, because this is the leverage point now. Leverage point isn't about saving money. It's about getting covered. Right. Got a 2-year wait. You're not covered. So you have to pile on that. When you hear that and you read that to him, and she's kind of still like not in belief of it. You can hear it like, well, I don't know. They didn't say anything about that, you know, but come on.
Would it be better for him to pivot to just adding on, since she seems to be attached to this other policy, and just adding on the other 5,000?
Maybe if you try, I would want to try all the way here first, and then maybe pivot. Let me take that from here for a second. I'm actually going to just go down to one mic so the batteries don't run out here. It's off here. All right.
Is that code for no more questions?
Yeah, for you. You're done. You're done. I'm kidding. Hold on one second, guys. We're doing it live here, so that should be good. All right, let's see what happens here.
And leave some money behind. So as an agent, I recommend Sika. Now, you don't have to go with the 10,000. You can start off with 7,500. Still going to have more coverage than Gerber, and the price for 7,500 is $32.29 a month. Does that sound better?
Close.
Let me discuss this with my mom.
There you go.
Let's go. Let's go.
And see what she thinks about it.
Of course.
And if you'll give me your name and number, I will call you back and let you know.
Well, Dorothy, that's actually what I want you to do. I want to give you more than enough time to think about this and talk with all the family members that you need to about this insurance. So what we have to do first is see what Sika has to say, if they'll approve you, because they do ask health questions and it's not a guaranteed acceptance.
So what he did was he didn't argue. And let's get to the, let me just teach this to you. So again, there's scripts. We can go through the scripts. In the interest of time, I want to teach the fundamentals. I use what's called the ask method, okay? When you hear an objection, this was, let me talk to my mom about it, or whatever. You answer the objection. That's A. You sell them on why they should do it anyway. And then C is you close. So think of it like a sandwich or a hamburger. There's thin patties, answering and closing, and then the thick of it is sell them on why they should do it anyway. So you can say all sorts of stuff here. Okay, it just depends on what the objection is. But the point is you want to disarm the client first. You don't want to ever argue with them. Marcus took it a step further and was like, hey, that's actually what I want you to do. But here's what we need to do first. Let's get you qualified. Let's see if we can even qualify you. And sometimes that's enough. You just build some momentum because they're filling that application out and they just kind of, they were just right there. They're going to be sold on. Okay. So sometimes that's enough. And then you say, so do you want this? Do you want the $7,500 a month or you want the $10,000? You always close, because what happens is that most of y'all, you'll do the answering and then sell them, but you won't go all the way and tell them what to do. In the heat of the moment, the anxiety is at its highest. You can feel it. They can feel it. It's incumbent on you to close the deal. Make it happen. Have the courage to take him across the finish line with you. So which one of these two do you want to do? After that, and that may happen a couple times. You have to take control and keep it, just like we've been talking. Which one of these works best with you? Because if you don't say that, it just kind of lingers. And more often than not, they'll just retract and not buy. Okay. So you notice like what Marcus is doing here. He's like, hey, we got to get you going. I agree with you. Let's see if we can even qualify you. And he also offered a step down in price. So kind of sensing maybe it's a price issue. Many times it is. Let's just try a $7,500. Maybe she can make sense of that. It's $5 more a month, $2,500 more in coverage, right? So let's see what she says. Any questions so far? Okay.
Does that make sense? So if you do get approved, you don't have to make any commitment or pay anything today. We're going to schedule the payment to start in September. So you have from now till September to talk it over with your mom to decide on which route you want to take. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure you and I are on the same page here. And even if you want, if we get you approved with Sika, we can call Gerber up together on the line and verify what type of policy you have. Would that give you that peace of mind?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's actually do that first, because I want to see before we even start if they sold you on a 2-year.
So we'll end it here because he got the verbal close. And he asked twice because he heard it, yeah. And she's like, yeah, after the okay twice. So I would have been fine with just the first one. I'm like, all right, let's go, But what Marcus is doing here is calling the company. You can absolutely call the company, third-party call. You can just tell the client, hey, just ask them for me to have permission to ask questions about the policy. It's a great way to validate what they have and how it works. And that's how you end up closing the deal that's on the fence like this. To get her conceptually closed. Once she realizes she doesn't have coverage and it comes from the actual company, not you, she's going to be like, man, he went all the way to do all this and he was right. Dang, it's a good agent. So go the extra mile, especially if they're on the fence like that. Because if you close her, you probably could close her and not do this, but she may just back out of it. You know what I mean? I'd want to take the shot. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? Any questions? All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw on one of your screens on a recorded line. So are we recording ourselves or?
You mean for
in general right now, or just on the phone in general? Oh, yeah. Yeah. This was an older script that he may not have said that. But regardless, we record every call and we say that early on in the script. Convoso is what we use for our dialer. It records everything, which is cool because then you can go grab your calls and listen to them, like we've been talking. So yeah, it's pretty neat. Okay. So moral of the story, this whole thing, which took us about 3 hours to go through. Now, there's plenty more left in this call. A lot of it has to do with the application. But this took 20 minutes to get to the sale. And it was a little more verbose when it came to explaining things. And what Marcus did really well is the opening. He nailed the opening. Okay. Great tone. Internet connection. Okay. Great tone. Followed the script perfectly. Did a great job. Great at connecting with the client after establishing business in the beginning. Did a great job of underwriting. Mediocre job here explaining the product and kind of getting into the weeds. And I think that's where he lost it because he didn't quite position it. Easy for us to say after the fact. We all do this. But, it's a good representation of what it takes to be successful. Now, is there any questions about any part of his script or the script in general we've taught today? Thing you want me to clarify, work on? Yeah, go ahead.
Complaining about her mentioning the accidental that being her complaint. And then he goes into the statistics of her dying in an accident. Do you suggest that?
Yeah. Well, so remember, why was he doing that? Because he was trying to convince her to get rid of it. Devalue, yeah, right. Yeah, so he said basically, you're more likely to win the lotto than to die of an accident. And everybody knows the likelihood of winning the lotto is next to nothing. So his point is that you're gambling in a sense by buying an accidental plan. Because it's like gambling for the lotto, right? To try to win the lotto. So in an attempt to try to devalue it, yeah, I don't think that's wrong. Do you think there's what's your thoughts on it?
Where the game is failed, trying to start losing the person.
Because of math or?
Because the whole call he's talking about statistics.
Sure, I hear you. What do you think? Do you have any opinion on what would be better? Okay. Do you have any opinion on what you think would have been better to say?
No, because I was thinking I was questioning why the accidental coverage is so high, being that she only had like 5,000.
That's a great question. Yeah, why does she value accidental so much? I think either it was just pitched to her and she took it, or she consciously bought it for some reason. I think that would have been, I think that's a valid criticism. Why do you have so much accidental? That is a really good point. Because then if you knew why, it's like, why do you want so much coverage? Like we talked about earlier. If I know why, then I can pitch it. But likewise, if I know why she got so much accidental, maybe I could properly sell her against it.
How likely it was for an insurance company to pay that out. That's not a conversation we're having with the client, or is it?
It's not like it's unlikely. It's unlikely you're going to die of an accident. Therefore, it's unlikely to pay out. Yeah. And that's technically true. I mean, accidental death, it's so cheap because it rarely does it ever get paid because most people die of natural causes. I can't remember one either. Yeah, me neither.
AM actually offers like a free like $1,000
AD&D. Yeah.
Policy that you can use to help get like referrals and stuff.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah. It's that kind of stuff. Do you have a question, comment?
I want to think accidental death has its place.
Sure. Yeah.
And the whole something's better than nothing. And all I can say is my kids lost their mom in a car accident.
Oh, wow.
Want to guess how much life insurance you had?
None.
None.
Accidental. Can you guys think of any that do? That it's useful?
Pilots, social workers.
Truckers.
Social workers.
Yeah. Social workers that work with final expense clients, yeah. Yeah, I mean, so maybe she rides, man. You know, maybe she's got a Harley in the back, you know. I'm telling you, so it goes to, again, another fundamental thing that's important, which is, what moves people to take action? Why do people do the things they do? And instead of presuming, we should ask, So it's just like, I didn't even think about that. It's like, why did she have 50? She had 50,000 in accidental. Why? That's a great question. Yeah.
In the beginning, she wanted the additional coverage. You think if you would have brought it up in the beginning, he could have resolved that from the beginning, getting close to close?
Sure, yeah. So what do you want your new policy to do? Why do you think you need more coverage?
It'll save him much time for those projections.
So this is why we try to ask these questions early, because you may not get the sale. And as I get older, I hate wasting time.
Yeah, that's still.
I think what he did, what makes him a great agent in your agency, is that he cleaned it up.
Yeah.
He didn't ask the questions, and I think he realized it, and he cleaned it up, and he approached it in a way that was going to create a positive outcome.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We all make errors. We're all like, this is a performance activity. I mean, it's like playing a sport. It's easy to critique, but living it in the moment and then redirecting it live, that's a skill. And sometimes we're asleep and then we wake up and are like, oh man, now I got to unwind this,
I think the linchpin to first trusting him way beyond was the fact that he said, you know what, before we move forward, let's go ahead and quote Gerber.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not in a rush to take your money.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, he sensed that. And did you guys catch that? So he probably knew like it was a, and he asked twice, you on board? You on board? So again, read and react, think on your feet. Follow the script. Use your brain. You can't do one or the other. You gotta do both.
Other agents would have just let that go. Would have
Yeah.
it and said, oh, have a
Yeah.
nice day.
Yeah.
Follow
Or
up.
closed it and then lost it.
At the end, so like the policy that he was offering, like, canceling Gerber and just joining everything together with his policy, was it also a guaranteed issue where she would have
No.
waited 2 years?
Sika. So the question for the chat is, or the Zoom people is, was Gerber the same as Sika? No, Sika was first day full coverage. And Gerber, but the issue was she thought, and this is, she thought it was full coverage, which it was for the grandkid. She kept mentioning the name, which I presume is Peyton. Yeah, Peyton. Yeah, Mr. Manning. They probably had the coverage for longer than 2 years. And then they added her on, which they didn't. It was her own policy, but they probably told her that. In her mind, she thought it was because it's the same company. And never told her it was a 2-year wait. The policy says guaranteed coverage, which always means typically it's a 2-year wait with that company. So this little detective work is kind of like, you need to do that, show it to them to get people to buy. It's easy to do it in person when you got the policy in front of you, but you got to make phone calls more frequently like this to solidify the sale. Okay. I'm back.
There are a lot of people buy 2-year wait. You feed them even 2 or 3 months later, they don't remember 2-year wait.
Yeah.
Full coverage.
Yeah. And they're just never told it. It's,
Even if they're told.
Right.
I think they were told.
Right.
I'm amazed. I'm like,
What'd you say?
sometimes they don't need it at all.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's inventory. Yeah. Gets my greed glands going when I see that. All right. What else? Anybody else has questions? Go ahead.
Contact with the customer that already has an existing policy.
Yeah.
Do they usually want to replace that policy, or do they want to buy separate policies?
It just depends. It depends. I mean, I would suggest as an agent that you lead that conversation and what's in their best interest. In most cases, it's better not to replace anything longer than 2 years because it's not contestable. Does anybody not know what it means to be non-contestable? Is that foreign? So contestability means that if any policy, even a first day full coverage in the first 2 years, you can contest its legitimacy. And the insurance companies are the one that do this. Because think about it, if I insure, somebody and they die 2 weeks later, which happened to me, they're not going to pay the full claim out. They're going to hold up. This guy already had cancer. Did he already have some health problems? Just started to load up on the insurance to scam the insurance company. So they contest that claim. They do their research and then come up with the outcome. They do that to everybody. And it's not one company. It's not one state. They all do it. So once you're past 2 years, it's non-contestable. Okay. It's like the suicide clause. There's a famous, the well-known plastic surgeon in Chattanooga who killed himself in his office because he maimed all these women in their plastic surgery, and he was being sued, and he killed himself, and he had a bunch of life insurance money left to the family. But it was beyond the 2 year contestability clause, so they paid it out. Okay. So the point being, in our world, should we replace something that is incontestable? In many cases, no. Sometimes it can be good. It can be worth considering at least. But you should, think twice before you do it. And that's where that comes from, is like, maybe it's better to add policy instead of replace it.
Because those you have to fill out all that, replace the form and all that stuff too.
Oh yeah, you still have to do
that. Never ever replace a policy.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying we never taught to do the replacement form work. Do the forms, please.
I've never replaced a policy in my life. Totally added.
Really? Yeah.
If they wanted to cancel it, that's up to them. I just sold the policy.
I see. Okay.
That was the way we.
Sure. Right. My advice to you is anytime that you have the potential of somebody replacing is fill out a replacement form, because it's like a CYA. It basically says the client signs off that they were aware that a potential is the key word, replacement could occur. And they signed off on it. They don't have to make that decision, but it covers you too as an agent. There's not a lot of, again, I'm not a lawyer, Better Call Saul, that's not me, I'm just some dude up here. But there's not a lot of litigation for policies in the final expense space. It's not like term or some of these very large face amounts, which is a good thing. I think that's a good thing about our business. There's not a lot of ambulance chasers. Go ahead.
Clients, are they all one call closers? And is it just
Yes.
final expense, not the other?
I would say final expense is a one call close for sure. Mortgage protection, one call close for sure. Yeah, some IULs maybe are one call close, maybe multi-step. It depends on the complexity. Sometimes they get more complex. Annuities, usually multiple step close.
I'm curious, is there any reason why someone would book another appointment with the client at all, or absolutely?
For final expense?
Yeah.
No. Not in my world. You got to think that way. The first time is last time. That's a mindset. And you'll question that. And yeah, sometimes you break the rules, but that's the exception, not the rule. When that person says hello, you're in the presentation. You have got to take it to its end. And any of the excuses they give you, you have to be able to work around and get to that end, get to the field goal, get to the end zone.
I think face to face, you have a better opportunity. I've gone back because I just drive back and just knock on the door, but on the phone, I agree.
Yeah, the phone is unique. I mean, it's just people stop picking the phone up. They disappear. You can't corner them, like face to face again,